Yeah.
Hey there, everybody! Welcome to Fresh Out the Box does yet another tabletop overview today of Absolut Power, a brand new tabletop RPG that we were recently gifted by its publishers. I am the normal game master and board game guru, Johananon.
And I am the co-host, Casualty CDG. Thank you for joining us, and a special shout out to Daisakami Publishing for shooting us this copy of Absolut Power. I'm a retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan and improv comedian.
I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbidian. I am a tabletop role-playing game and video game variety Twitch streamer who used to be on a community music radio station some time ago.
And my name is Riley Davis, also known as Rune. I'm nobody important online, and that's just the way I like it. However, I am a role-playing game aficionado, and superhero games are my always first love. And I've read and played them all, and I have a special soft spot in my heart for the game that we're going to be discussing and overviewing tonight. Silver Age Sentinels 2.0, also known as Absolut Power. Take it away, host.
Absolutely. So for those of you that have been here for one of our rules readings, we like to go through the book, like books, how you go through them, and we check them out. We like to we skip over a lot of the unnecessary stuff. If you want that kind of stuff, if you want to read like the intro, maybe buy it for yourself. It is available, I believe, for pre-order. It might be. The Kickstarter just ended, and we're very happy to be reading this. And then we're gonna dive into the rules, and if we have time, we might actually make some characters. See how it goes. One of our favorite tests, especially in superhero games, is to see if we can make it in your system. So we'll come up with the most obscure hero that we can, and we'll try to replicate their power set in your system. So yeah, here we go.
I predict we can.
Which one?
I predict that whatever it is, we can make it.
I hope
this
so.
game's very flexible.
There's a few games that we had trouble making specific power sets, but for the most part, superhero games tend to be pretty flexible. Hopefully, this one is the same way. So, without further ado, we'll be checking out. So, first off, I mean the cover, it's freaking dope.
Yeah, it gave me big time The Boys vibes.
Yeah, that guy kind of reminds me of Homelander a little bit. And then you got Athena here, and then Noir. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of it. It's cool. I like it. I like the Star Girl on the next
page. Let me
page.
tell you who the characters are?
If you want to.
I'm familiar with them all. If you'll go back to the cover, I will
go ahead.
quickly discuss them. So the man right front and center is Sentinel. In times past, he was known as the American Sentinel, but in the modern age, he goes just by Sentinel to reflect his more global position. And he's sort of a character combination of Superman meets Captain America.
Okay.
The woman immediately to the left and above him is Grandmother Raven, previously known as Mother Raven. She is a sort of a mystic character who is, conceptually speaking, a bit of a cross between the Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange.
I was going to say,
a little
like
Zatanna.
Doctor Strange and Storm had a baby.
Well, she's sort of connected to native Canadian tribal peoples, and her mysticism is very much tied up in that. And then I guess going around counterclockwise, next is Red Phoenix. Red Phoenix is a thematic concept of the Eternal Warrior. She is an immortal, fantastically powerful warrior with magical equipment and powers, and she's sort of a take on Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman and Thor.
Yeah, very much a Wonder Woman Thor pastiche. The next character circling around counterclockwise is Slipstream. Slipstream is a classic speedster, and he's probably a little bit closer to a Quicksilver than to the Flash, but could fill in both. He's a niche character for it. However, he's also super smart and a scientist, so he's also something of a gadgeteer. He's also an alien, so he also fills the alien role on the team. And finally, you have Caliburn. Caliburn is sort of a Batman pastiche, but with a British hint, and his primary supervillain is a Jack the Ripper type villain.
Caliburn looks like he whoops that ass with a stick.
He looks like Cobra Commander.
He does look
Well,
like
he has a
Cobra
scarred
Commander.
face, and he wears a mirrored mask, which covers the injuries.
It's dope.
The scar's actually part of his origin story. Anyway, that's the overview of the Guard, which is the name of their team.
I like that. No, that's cool. So now we know a little bit more about the characters that inhabit the actual setting. So I guess they do have their own setting, which is good to know. That's one of our things that we look at. It looks like also earlier we were flipping through a little bit. We noticed that the table of contents very detailed, which we think is a good thing. We're pretty sure it's a good thing.
Yeah, so we had the conversation back and forth. Is this too much detail in a table of contents because the same page is listed 4, 5, 6 times sometimes? Or is this one of the things where you'll be playing the game and wonder what page it's on, and you'll easily be able to find exactly what you're trying to reference? And so I'm not sure if this is too much or if it's exactly perfect. And that's something I'd only be able to figure out playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and in some of these games, I either like to have a really good table of contents or a really good index.
Index.
Like, if I have neither, I'm like, now I have to memorize. Like, if I'm holding the book, sure, I'll flitter through it and I'll memorize. I'm weird like that. I'll memorize roughly where in the book it is. Like, yeah, but if I'm like, I need to look up the rule for poison or getting drunk, I'm like, oh God, I never use that rule. Where in this book is it?
Yeah.
As soon as I'm challenged with something like that, the homebrew wheels start spinning. Like, well, here's how we're going to handle drunk right now, and I'm going to look that up later.
Yeah.
No, that's dope. I also, a lot of times like a player will do something. I'm like, I don't know how you're going to do that. So let me check real quick. So yeah, good detailed table of contents can definitely help you speed things along in game. It looks like they have a lot. This is a 338 page book. And it is one of two. There are 2 books. There is the system, which is book 1, and then there is the Essentials, which is book 2. The Essentials also has fantastic art. Loving it. But let's continue here. The Frisco Flyer makes me laugh pretty hard. I don't know if you see that, Gary.
Yeah, that's a great look. Reminds me of Kite Man.
Looks like the kind of character that you'd be all about.
Absolutely. Are you familiar? Did you watch any of the Harley Quinn HBO show?
I watched all of it, and it was...
Hey, man, hell yeah.
Kite Man. Kite Man was great.
Kite Man was fantastic.
That guy's the Frisco Flyer. Yep.
Yeah, the Frisco Flyer.
He's a proto superhero before superhero age really began.
I love it.
Yeah, then they go on to talk about if you just want to learn more about comics and superheroes, they have quite the introduction here. We're not going to get too much into it because it's very long, but they talk about the history of comic books, even referencing specific ones, showing like a history. If you want to get your education on about the art that is comics, give it a check. It's worth it just for that.
I think this is really cool because when I see this, I think back to like a 15 or 16-year-old me who would have picked this book up and got a 2-for-1 bang for your buck with comic book history on top of a tabletop game. I think that's a really cool.
When I was a kid.
Yeah, man, that's a cool introduction compared to a lot of the other stuff we're used to. Sometimes it's just a forward by the writer, and that's all you get. But this is cool. It's beefy and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, this book definitely seems like it has a lot to say and a lot to offer, so that's cool. It talks about Beyond Silver Age. I imagine, because this is Silver Age Sentinel 2nd edition, essentially, it's talking about what that means. Then it talks about superhero gaming. What's that?
Sorry, it's like interesting tonal shifts and whether or not you want to adopt them.
Yeah.
It's saying that if you want to keep a higher hope Silver Age tone to your games, of course you're free to do that. But the game itself is reflecting a more mature shift into the modern age.
Oh no, that's dope. Yeah, no, I'm always down. I love it when games don't force stuff on you. We've had a couple games that like forced like romance onto stuff, and like I don't know, they forced weird stuff. It wasn't really like an optional rule, and it's cool that this has that tonal option. But yeah, here's superhero gaming in general. If you haven't played a superhero game, worth reading. Most of us here have played at least one, probably more than one though.
Played them all.
Yeah, he's played them all, so we don't need to read that. What's new in Absolute Power? It'll talk about, if you're a returning fan, it'll talk about that. And then there's a little story here. So a lot of lore, a lot of love in these first couple pages. And then they have a glossary. Okay.
There's also a very nice index in the back. I checked.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
good. That's good.
Here's what the character
index is. The index in the back clickable, Rune?
It is not.
I liked that about the table of contents. It is clickable.
Clickable table of contents is a huge plus. But yeah, here's the character sheet. A lot of times you have to wait till the end to see one of these, but here's what it looks like when you're all said and done. This is according to Rune, a weak character because it's only 100 character points, which is a pretty low tier superhero.
Well, it's weak for a superhero, yes.
Yeah, weak for a superhero. Probably pretty good for just a person, but
oh yeah, he'd stand up to James Bond fine. Sure.
Yeah. And then so they use this interesting overlapping derived stat diagram here, which is very cool, very interesting. I've never seen anything like it before.
I think that this character sheet's cool looking.
I haven't run into this very much. It looks like it's a tri-stat derivative system, yeah? Like it starts from tri-stat and then it gets more detail as it goes in.
Right. Well, it's pretty similar to the older editions of Tri-Stat. I'd say that the biggest changes are the way the dice are handled. It's a roll-up system rather than roll down like it was in the old days, which ultimately just leads to a better balanced game. And it also has the unique damage multiplier attribute, which is 5 for most characters, can go up with their specific attributes they might buy, but it basically acts as a multiplier on your weapon or damaging special attacks.
I also do like that it is, well, in theory, it's a one sheet character sheet. Like I don't mind having 2 or 3 pages to my character sheet because I like having that extra beef. But sometimes if your basic snapshot of your character, it's like I'd want to be able to see that right away. I don't want to be flipping through it to find. Although, mind you, all those powers you're going to need to, like the attributes, you're going to need to know what those are anyway.
Yeah,
I would note one thing. I believe earlier that Casualty, you had noted that it moves inwards towards the stats that are derived. However, damage multiplier is not a derived stat. It's just standardly 5, regardless of what your attributes are. But the other attributes, the combat value and the health points and the energy points, those are indeed all derived from the other attributes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Connor wants the elevator pitch. Basically, I don't really. I mean, this is the first time I'm looking at it, so I'm not sure. But
so I think I tried to. I was going to say I went to their Kickstarter and I was like, the description on the Kickstarter should be the elevator pitch, right?
Sure.
So what this says is modern superhero RPG adventures across the entire power level spectrum. Return to the evocative world of Silver Age Sentinels RPG version 2.0, which Rune is a Silver Age Sentinels fan from way back. And Rune, when did the first edition come out?
I want to say 2002, but it might have been a year later or a year before. I bought the original hardbacked full color special limited edition the minute I saw it in my friendly local game store. And I had already been a fan of the game company Guardians of Order's Big Eyes Small Mouth game, the anime role-playing game before that, and had quite a few supplements for that. I owned the Sailor Moon RPG and resource book, which is the same game system, same stat system, and in fact, in many ways, it was proto Silver Age Sentinels. It's like its rules were the test rules that were used to create the actual superhero game a couple of years later.
And so
I was very familiar with the game system and all that ahead of time.
I have no experience with the tri-stat system, and I would say that. So why the tri-stat system? I guess would be my next question.
Well, you mentioned that somebody wanted an elevator pitch. What I would like to sell an RPG fan on that makes this game different from most other superhero games, especially, is that it's very fast playing at the table. It can be a bit of a detailed process to make a character if you don't use a template. There are templates available to make a character quickly, but if you don't choose to do that and you want to make everything and spend every point yourself carefully, you can make a very detailed character that way, and that can take time. The more points you're spending, the more time it will take, of course. But once you're at the table and all that's been done, the actual gameplay is extraordinarily quick and easy. It's easy on the game master, and the math is very well balanced. In the sense that once you get a head around how it works, it just flows very fast. The game itself is easy to sort of, with any point-based system, it's always possible to make a character that's too strong or too weak. But once you understand how the game works, it's, someone would have to go out of their way to do it. Basically, they'd be trying to make a murderous, overpowered character. Basically,
I'd say that's
it's not hard to eyeball
problem.
a character and see it. Yes, so I'd say basically it's fast playing at the table, very easy. So that's my elevator pitch.
Okay, so yeah, no, fast playing at the table, that's a good selling point for sure. I enjoy that. I don't mind a lengthy character creation process. It's actually probably my favorite part anyways. So if after that you're saying we're going to have a really quick gameplay, I'm excited for that. Also, I noticed, like a lot of superhero games, they have tiers of power. My favorite, Subhuman. It's fun. If you want to play Super Fish or a baby.
Bunnies and Burrows. Remember that game?
No.
Oh, God.
That was an actual game, Bunnies and Burrows. You could play a Subhuman game with everybody had, low stats because they're not humans. They're little animals, little fluffy animals, and the game will work just fine.
It sounds like you can do that here, but it goes all the way from that to godlike. So it sounds like our 100 point character earlier was on the very low end of average. I don't know. I feel like playing somewhere within the average or major power level would be pretty fun.
Really, that's where you would go, huh?
I think so.
I think I would want to start closer to minor or human, and then work my way up. But I like a low hero entrance.
That can be fun. Moderate or average could be pretty dope. I think. More.
I think depending on the campaign. Yeah, depending on the campaign would be what I generally probably like to start at average and move up, because I feel superheroes don't feel like superheroes if one gunshot puts them out of the fight.
And that's exactly where I'm not, like I said, it depends, like you said, it depends on the setting. So I don't want to say that I disagree with you, because that's not true at all, because depending on the setting, you're right. But I do like that a superhero can get shot and killed kind of Watchmen-esque, right?
To me, Watchmen isn't superheroes. Watchmen is a deconstruction of superheroes. I love it as well, but it's literally a deconstruction of what makes superheroes what they are.
It is, but if you wanted to play a Watchmen campaign, you'd be playing a dialed-down superhero campaign.
You could play a Watchmen superhero game and everybody be minor power only, right? Or even moderate at best.
And maybe that's where I kind of like that, the lethality, the fear of, you're a hero, but you're still man, you're still human underneath your hero.
Sure.
Unless you're Dr. Manhattan.
Right. Well, he's like the only guy in the game who's extreme power, basically, compared to the others. And I guess some would argue that Adrian Veidt's probably a little bit better than the others, too. I mean, the guy can catch a bullet in his bare hands.
Yeah. I do like that they do give that.
Yeah.
I will say I do like that. I do like that it gives a spread, though, because you do have that. Because some games will usually say, no, you are average power. You are this type of superhero. You're that kind of superhero. It's can I go lower than that? Now without homebrewing, you can't. It's like, this was like, you know what, dude? If you want to do bunnies and burrows, go ahead. You want to be reenacting the Titans versus the gods, you can do that too if you want.
Yeah,
sure.
Here's another interesting thing.
Along with that, I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
Here's another interesting thing they have. They have character benchmarks. So at the tier that you're at, so when you're within that human 25 to 49 power level, you are limited on your attribute levels.
That makes sense.
And combat values, health point energies. So it does keep you within the confines of that in another way too, which is very interesting. Hi, Jenny.
Yeah, that.
That's actually more guidelines than the older versions of the game had, and I like it too.
Yeah.
Also, they're generally considered soft gaps, like with Game Master permission. If your character is all about his force field attribute, you could buy your force field higher than the, campaign's power level normal attribute maximum a little bit more, just to fill your character role exactly as you envision it. But yeah, it definitely helps. It gives game masters and players a guideline they can wrap their head around for how powerful the character should be within the confines of the campaign's power level.
So it does seem, you want to establish these boundaries. And yeah, it says benchmark exceptions, social sensitivities. I'm always happy when games put this in. It talks about representation. It talks about staying in your lane and not, offensively portraying someone else's situation. And it talks about sexual violence and all that stuff that, usually I have like blanket statements that I say before games. I'm like, no, this, or this, just so everyone understands. Most of the time I wouldn't invite someone to a game if I thought that they were going to play like a racist character.
Yeah.
But it always warrants saying just to make sure, So
it's that Session 0 material.
Yeah, it's that Session 0 material. They also talk about Session 0s. Pretty much every new TTRPG that me and Gary have been reading lately do. They all talk about Session 0. It's really a part of the culture now, which I like.
It's the new standard now.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Which is good, yeah.
Let's see. Your character's framework. Character outline is a broad concept that provides you with a frame which to build your character. It is not fully detailed. Are these the templates?
It's going to be.
It's going to be. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to be moving into those shortly, I think.
Humans versus non-humans, character strengths, character weaknesses, and defining your character. All important stuff. A lot of this is pretty boilerplate character creation concepts. Most of us are aware of these kinds of things. And if you're not, you can check out. Maybe we should do like a basics of the game video, Gary.
Man, we've been saying that for like 2 years.
We'll have time soon.
Like, we swear we'll teach you guys how to play tabletop games, but we just assume that most people who came here played D&D at least once.
Yeah, we're pretty niche. But hey, I don't have school next week, so maybe we could do something.
Hey, hell yeah.
I took my final yesterday. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I failed. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
So yeah, background details, group connections. These are all things. I like that more games talk about group connections. You know, at the Session 0, kind of knit your characters together. We got some pretty cool stuff in our superhero game that we're playing, Icons. When you guys did that together, it really shaped the world into something completely different from what I had envisioned, and I like it. So, and then finally, so here's mechanics. Here's how the game works. So that's exciting. This is the meat and potatoes of it.
Don't get lost in the formulas here. They start to kind of run together after a minute.
Looks like some pretty standard kind of concepts here. Target numbers. The target numbers against which the total rolls are compared from TN6, very easy, to 30. Inconceivable!
Inconceivable!
I do not think that I do not think that word means what he thinks that it means.
Then your stat rolls, skill rolls. It's just talking about adding numbers to rolls, so that's pretty standard. What is the dice size?
D6 is 2d6.
Okay, 2d6. I very greatly appreciate and enjoy D6 systems. They're very simple. The age system, which is one of our favorites, is a 3d6 system. Very fun, very elegant. And then Icons itself, 2d6. So
actually, Icons is mostly a single d6, isn't it?
Is it?
It's a player rolls a single d6 against the GM single d6.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah. No, you're
similar
right.
though. Similar concepts.
Similar, yeah. What do we play that's 2? We play something that's 2, Gary. Wild Sea?
The other thing we're playing is Wild Sea.
That's D6? Whatever.
Well, Wild Sea, you add D6.
You do add D6, okay.
So,
Guys,
I think the benefit of a D6 system, I've been reading about it more for developing stuff, is that it's the great thing about D6 is it's cheap and you can get it anywhere and you can get it from most board games. Whereas, I mean, not that like a D10 or D20 is like incredibly expensive, but it does cost more than a D6 and it can be a little hard. If I want to buy a bunch of D6, I can go to a big box store and buy a bunch
Buy them
of
at
the
the
damn
gas
things.
station, yeah.
Buy them at the gas station. I want to buy a D20.
Most people
I hope
have
there's a game store or a hobby store in town, or I can't really buy it unless I want to order away.
most people have one in a junk drawer somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Well, before the age of online ordering everything became easy, D6s were great because even if you lived in a country where you couldn't get gaming dice, D6s were always available.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just had to have a copy of Yahtzee and everybody could play.
Right. or as I like to say, Fireball, the Yahtzee spell.
That one got Corbinian really good. He, like,
I saw that. He nearly spewed his drink out his nose.
Bring over a game of Yahtzee. Just kidding, D&D. No.
I enjoy
That
surprise.
is good. That's good.
Yeah, so they got damage. So a lot of this rolling stuff is actually pretty standard. So it's not like you're going to be learning a whole, you don't have to learn calculus. Some games want you to. I am against it. I don't want to learn calculus.
Yeah, this game's very easy to learn.
John, did you just say that you're against learning calculus?
Yeah.
For games. He didn't specify for games.
I didn't specify for games. No, I don't want to learn calculus. I have to learn trigonometry already. I'm taking that next semester, and I don't want to. So
Fair enough. All right, I'll let you go down with that ship.
here we go. Quick play templates. Alrighty, reading templates. They provide a foundation upon which you can build your character by either adding or subtracting stats, attributes, and defects to the baseline 0 stats. So it looks like it gives you a starting point for you to modify from, which is helpful. Rune, you were talking about that earlier. That does help, especially when you're dealing with like a 200-point character. You can start with somebody that's already close. It's like when you're re-rolling your default avatar until it looks close to what you want, and then
And then once you got the major parts are good, then you can tweak individual things, right?
Yeah. So cool. It looks like they have power templates: Acrobat, Animalist, Champion, Dynamo, Elemancer, Farce, Inventor, Mastermind, Powerhouse, Prowler, Psychic, Shapechanger, Speedster, Thaumaturge, and Weaponeer. Very cool.
And if you look at that, Jahan, are you still on the Weaponeer page by chance?
I'm on the whole table page. I can go to the
Right.
page.
Just any of them, really. But it shows you, like, if you pick that we're going to play 100-point characters, then it shows you that your first degree of that block is 20 points. The second one is 40. The third one is 60. And so it really is just bam, bam, plug and play.
Yeah, it is cool. So you can go to the third degree, you have your 60 points, and you have a character that can already use weapons if you're building a weapon master character. That's very cool.
Exactly.
Like Sports Master.
Having three different ranks of each template means that they'll fit into almost any power level of campaign.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it's a
And
good
you
place
can
to
use
start.
as much or as little of that template as you want.
Thaumaturge.
Yeah, and that's where it can get complicated, right? Is when you start messing with those 200 points or so that you're using. It's not difficult. It's just addition and subtraction. But these plug and play would get you going really quick.
Jeez.
Those,
I'm looking at the Speedster power scaling here. The 20-point character has 12 points in speed, level 4. Speedster can go 3,000 kilometers per hour. But if you slide on over to the 60 point, they can go 30,000 kilometers per hour. Which is, that's
not like a hard limit. And you can buy as much super speed as you want.
Finally.
That's just what the template has, right?
Finally, I can never
Or,
get enough.
as long as the game master doesn't say that's too much for my game, right?
And even the 60-point templates, that's somewhere in the moderate range anyway.
Yes.
Oh yeah. You could just say I want a 60, third rank speedster character, even in a 100-point character game. It's just that you need to buy your other stats. Like it only gives you 6 body. Your other points that are left over are going to need to spend on your soul and your mind stat and any other additional attributes and skills you want for your character.
Now I'm noticing that not every template is the same cost either. Like
Oh, no,
Farts
they're totally
is
different
10,
costs.
20, 30, whereas
Yeah, no.
Powerhouse goes 30, 60, 90.
Yeah, all they are is a list of powers pre-bought.
Exactly, and a
Or,
Powerhouse character is going to be a lot stronger than a Farce character.
Which
yeah,
that
farce
makes
character. A farce character is, I believe, sort of like a ambush bug slash, you know, it's like a mini. It's like a mini template you can apply to any other character that turns them into like a Deadpool ambush bug.
That's exactly what I
Other
was
comedy
thinking. Was
character.
like a
Right.
Deadpool type
Add
of
some
situation.
comedy to them.
That's what it reads like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they also have more templates. So it looks like you can stick these things together. Actually, if you want to play a powerhouse that is larger, you're going to add another 10 points, and you're going to gain ×2 height, ×8 mass, ×5 lifting capacity, +10 damage influenced by strength. That kind of stuff. It's just stack. And
Plus 10 armor.
You're a big dude, or you can be a smaller character and actually take points away. So you can, if you want to be kind of that wiry, scrawny, weak, like telepath character, you can be, and it'll give you more points to put into your actual psychic abilities. So pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then shrinking characters. They talk about that. Very interesting. Some superheroes can shrink. Those strange magic. Blah, blah, blah. Interesting. Okay.
And by the way, I know Discami, you have guys here listening to this. Is it you, Mark? I don't know if that's you, Mark, but I hope it's you, Mark. I love that you found a way to include the cover art from the first edition books, both the TriStat Special Edition version and the D20 SAS Edition cover art in the interior art in the new book. Thank you so much for including that old art. I'm a huge fan of the old cover art.
That's why we had to include Rune in this stream.
Oh, yeah.
Because he
Screaming fanboy is here
huge
to talk about
fanboy.
all that stuff.
And we're happy to make a dream come true. And thanks for helping us do that, Mark. We appreciate the books. They're very cool. They're good books. It's always nice. Sometimes, man, we've been handed some interesting books before.
Man,
We've read books through gritted teeth a couple of times, but this is not that. This book is very cool. Size modifiers, man. You can get into some depth here, friend.
Wow.
I don't even know what that unit of measurement is.
Spec. We.
Hold on, let me find the
Tiny.
page you're on. What are you talking about now?
Page 49. Okay.
I don't know what this is.
point, mote, spec, minute, wee, tiny, fine.
Oh, I know what this is. Okay, let me break this down for you in a way that makes it easy to understand. All this is across the top is a list of attributes in the game that can all be purchased individually on your character. They can either be added on positively to cost points or taken negatively, giving your character points back. Across, going down the chart and reading across it is basically all the attribute modifiers that it costs or gives you back to be a particular size. So it's like they basically just blanket put together ahead of time packages at different sizes and say, if you want to be this size, you get this many points or spend this many points to do it, and boom, you're good to go.
I appreciate it, Mark. Mark knows the symbol I'm talking about. That's micro. Looks like a U. Yes. A micrometer. Micrometers. Interesting.
Don't worry, I'm somewhere. What's your height? I don't know, somewhere between 100, 400 micrometers.
I'm so glad I don't have to design things in micrometers. I use millimeters at work. If I have to do micrometers, man, that means I'm like doing nanotech, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's
you
pretty
don't
small.
want to do nanotech.
That's how you get Grey Goo, man.
I'm scared of
Thank you.
nanotech, man.
Mm-hmm. That's how you make Iron Man.
Smaller than medium templates, larger than medium templates. Origin templates. Here we go. So you're going to be mishmashing. So once again, I like to reiterate that you can grab any of these templates or none of them, and you have your point limit, and you can mishmash as many as you want together, or just take and pick and choose. But it does sound like this is going to save a lot of time because you are spending a lot of points. Let's see. A Sentinel on Earth, Erdala, are the source of countless legends, each ascribing to them varying levels of magic, whimsy, and mystery. Okay, cool. Lodestars.
Lodestars are beings of fantastic power. 3 took human form after settling in Earth's aura, with the rest either born from that aura or descended from Lodestar unions.
Ooh, that means
I want
sex.
to toss out a guess. The Erdala sort of, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Mark. I get the vibe that Erdala are basically sort of like fairies. The Lodestars are sort of like the Eternals.
The Erdala thing, it sounds almost like they're like legendary figures. But fairies, actually, I didn't think about fairies. It could be those kinds of things. And Lodestars definitely sound like Eternals.
Definitely sounds like Eternals.
The Zine, as varied as the humans from which these immortals spring, Zine are those mystic scientists, demigods, and other gifted folk who draw on a particular imprint in the terrestrial aura known as the concordance. The ideogram copies itself onto the totality of Zine, binding body, mind, and spirit together. So that's cool. And also, we got to hear about the concordance, which is also, that sounds like some dope, like DC kind of stuff right there. I do enjoy that.
I take it back. It looks like the Zion are the Eternals. They just don't actually have enhanced stats like Marvel's Eternals do. But like they basically just hard to die and regenerate, and they don't age.
Cool. So you could be members of the Union Joint Task Force, which sounds like they're going to be, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of stuff. Wardens, the Warden Cliff Field Agents, the Wardens, human Wardens train in many fields of combat, able to set up all manner of gear anywhere on Earth, tested minimums, blah, blah, blah. Man. See, I like it when they show you this lore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All of that is in book 2, chapter 6. Excellent. That's this book. I like this book. This book's sexy.
I haven't read through that. Haven't been able to read through it all, but I plan to.
Yeah, this is good stuff. I'm definitely enjoying these books quite a bit. But yeah, that's one of the things that me and Gary have been talking about a lot in these dissections is when you're going through the rules, when you're going through character creation, and you're like touching this lore just while you're doing it on accident. You know what I mean? It just that was one of the great things about like Dune.
So while we're reading this, we should be feeling like it's a superhero game, right? Not just because we know it's superheroes, but because it should feel like it. It should sound like it. It should use superhero lingo. And
the setting should reflect it, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Like the setting should reflect it. Here we are. You're picking these templates that aren't just saying you're a superhero. They're telling you part of the story also. It's that extra edge that makes it go up a point on that grade scale.
And also, like, these are setting specific, and that's cool. But also, you could very easily just be like, "Hey, I'm the setting neutral version of this thing."
I will add that these are nice. Like it is giving us this information, but it's not lore dumping, because there's the exact opposite problem where you have like, "Hey, look. Here's Ardala. Here's a bit of crunch. And here's 20 pages of lore." It's like, look, I love the lore, but like I'm
World
still
of Darkness,
creating.
is that you? Yeah, that's World of Darkness. Yes.
Yeah, and
short stories make up half the book.
Whereas where you can have the exact opposite, where if you still have that flavor in it, where like you're saying using the lingo, like there's certain games where it's like even in one line you're like, oh, that's a reference to this spy trope, or oh, that's a reference to that superhero thing. But having that little blurb like, what kind of template is this? Oh, I get it. It's that kind, or it's this kind. Okay, I want to be something like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, they have you have a lot of ideas here. This is the kind of system that generates ideas, and we always love to see that. The next thing is a Hod regime species. 3 different kinds of reptilia superiority leader stuff things here. If you want to be a Milky Way lizard folk from beyond the stars, pretty cool. I like that a lot. I wouldn't have thought of that as an origin. Like that one, I would not have thought of that. That's a good one.
Minor correction. The Howd are indeed the lizards, but the other two on that page, the Perosians and the Reserpens, are two different races completely.
Oh, cool.
Perosians are the human-looking race
Mm.
that Slipstream is a member of. They're basically slightly faster than other people. And then the Reserpens are basically classic grays. 4 feet tall, big
Ooh,
round
I like
head,
that.
giant saucer eyes.
I like that. I'm a big fan of gray aliens. I like the big eye, big head alien things. I'm a huge fan of XCOM, so and I love that whole vibe, the Men in Black.
Me too.
Freaking Advent Trader. Can't trust you.
But yeah, Stellar Alliance species. So this is a different alliance of aliens that you can also play as. It looks like there's a feline species.
A upright beetle species.
Ooh.
No, thank you. No,
and an
no.
avian species that's the rival of the Reserpans, which are the Greys.
I
The
know.
serpents.
I know that he's not a beetle person actually, but I am a huge big blue beetle fan. So
Yeah, I thought you were going to talk about that other alien in season 3, like Grabber or whatever his name is. He's got the 4 arms.
Forger.
Oh, from Teen Titans?
No,
Forger!
from Young Justice.
Yeah,
Forger
he's from.
sucks.
Isn't he from New Genesis though?
Yes. I
Yeah,
believe
he's
so.
from New Genesis.
But
Wow.
yeah, that guy is a beetle person.
Yeah, he's cool.
Forager. It was
He had to grow
almost-
on me though. I didn't like him at first, but
Whew,
I like
me either. He was one of the reasons it was so hard for me to get through season 3.
But he got better, right?
No.
Gary,
You don't think so?
Gary never liked him.
The
I
best thing
liked
about
it.
Forager was the season finale when Forager leaves.
Okay. Well, taste vary. I think
Hey.
Forager ended up being a pretty cool character.
I was a fan of Forger. Don't you worry. Yeah, season 3 was.
By the way,
probably
this
my
game would do a great Teen Titans campaign.
dude, man.
This game would be amazing for a campaign.
Teen
Setting
Titans,
that kind of
go.
power level character concepts, it would be amazing for it.
I know that's the one that you're
Men in
not
Black,
supposed to
too.
like, but it's fun. Yeah, Men in Black. You can do a lot with this system. We're seeing that you can do a lot with this system, and I really appreciate that. Honestly, like you guys could just play like normal like agent people, and I can make a bunch of crazy strong alien monsters for you to have to SCP or whatever.
That sounds rough, buddy.
Monitor corpse are the empowerment sources. Oh, okay. So these are templates for sources of strength that you can acquire. That you can like, what do you call them? Power sources. Yeah.
Right.
So monitor corpse armor. It's super armor. That's pretty cool. Starbright empowerment.
That's basically Green Lantern stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. Starbright form. Ooh, here's a
Just
picture.
no ring.
Oh, cool. It has the alliance together, the avians, felines, and beetle alliance.
That beetle looks so damn weird to me. I don't know.
That whole crew makes me laugh in a great way. Like, I love it. I love that.
That
team.
art's gorgeous, though.
Uh-huh.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
wish I wasn't
the artist,
attracted
may I
to
ask?
the cat.
There are 2 different artists, I believe. I was looking at their names earlier. So the art was by Kingsley Hollenkagen, Jeffrey Valoria, and the CMD Studios.
Right. And the artist for the original edition of the game was tip of my tongue here. Why am I suddenly drawing a blank? Ed Northcott.
Northcott. Yep.
Amazing artist. I'm a huge fan of his work. He
It
did
does
such a
say,
great job in that first edition.
foundational work from the original Silver Sentinels was the artist was Liquid L, Jeff McIntosh, Bob McLeod, and Ed Northcott.
Yeah, Ed Northcott did the majority of the internal art, as well as the cover of the D20 edition of the game, which is just fantastic looking.
Whoa. Does it say the core writing of the original Silver Sentinels was done in part by Steve Kenson?
Oh, we know Steve.
Yeah, Steve Kenson did indeed write the majority of that opening sequence.
What's up? That's what's up.
I told you it was really good.
Yeah, Steve Kenson, friend of the show. He has been sponsoring multiple giveaways during our usual game of icons on Wednesdays. He has asked that I share the fact that Icons Annual 1 is finally back on their store. They got it fixed. They got it back up on the Drive-Thru RPG. You can get an entire lump sum of a year's worth of releases from Icons. I have checked it out. It is pretty cool. And then also check out Steve Kenson's Patreon, because Steve Kenson is always doing cool shit. So help him do cool shit.
Or else. No.
Or else. Or else the spinning device will get closer and closer to my neck. All right. Sorry. Chapter 4, stats and derived values. You know, maybe not the most exciting thing, but crucial to a good system. Crucial to understanding what's going on. We can grab a bite of this. Body stat measures the physical aspects of your character. This includes overall health, strength, endurance, quickness, rate of healing, manual dexterity, and ability to withstand damage and trauma. Character with a high body is in good physical shape and can lift approximately 20... I almost said turny.
Turd?
Turny to 30 kilograms. Like,
20 turds.
I went a little Texas on you. Sorry about that.
That is not Texas.
It's something.
It is something, I'll give you that.
20 to 30 kilogram times their body stat, and freely maneuver about 1/2 that amount. Okay, so it tells you it's got rules for moving and lifting. I'm not measuring what you're picking up. I just say no when it sounds silly, but some people do like to get really in depth, and this game has that crunch. If you like it, you need it. If you want it, it's here. Body values for non-humans are different. Very cool. So then you also have the MyStat. So this is the tri-stat system at its core. There are 3 stats. Who would have thunk? Mind and soul are the other 2. Mind is mental prowess and aptitudes. Soul represents luck, willpower, and determination. Strength of character, almost.
May I add something in?
Yeah, go ahead. Add all you want.
I was going to say, mechanically speaking, the primary role of these 3 statistics is to scale your character's basic raw abilities, in particular their skill checks and things of that nature. You'll also be using those raw stats as your defense or saving throw value if you were going to use D20 terms. So, for example, if you were going to make a Constitution save in D&D, in this game it would be a body check.
Yeah, and that's very.
And
simple.
you can also have attributes specially purposed, which gives you bonuses in different situations. For example, if your character is very hardy, like a dwarf, and resists poison very well, you might have a +2 or a +4 to your all body checks regarding resisting poison.
Yeah.
As an example.
When I was younger, I started in 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons, and I kind of always like put my nose up at simpler, more streamlined systems. But as I've gotten older, I realize I'm a dingus. Why would I want to torture myself with complicated systems when I could play something simple now?
I think that there's room for both now in my life, and it used to be like, you know, there was only room for one tabletop game for me. I had all my eggs in the Dungeons and Dragons basket, and I bought every single supplement and every book that came out. But it became more fulfilling for me to buy and play other games and other systems and see different things, not new subclasses, because I don't know. I like to see everything different, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Sure. These systems are really interesting to me.
Yeah, there's too many systems to just stick to one, and it's only a matter of time before Wizards of the Coast charges you every time you open a book. So
let's go to that joke. As long as we're doing this, why don't we hear everybody's thoughts on that? Corbinian, do you have any thoughts about game systems and the way you like them, or how you've changed over the years?
I tend to, at least with TriStat, the way I've ran into it, it is the sort of thing where you can very quickly get, if you had to make a quick call, like I want to do this, body, I want to do this, mind, I want to do this, soul. Whereas if you say something to me in D&D for as a base, or D20 systems in general, strength, dex, whiz, da-da-da-da. It's like, that sounds like a whiz check. Fair enough. But some systems can get super granular, like Eclipse Phase, where you have all these things, which if you like that kind of math, and you want that very specific case studies, then that's great. But if you don't want, but it's like, try to remember all that. What's stat number 7 supposed to mean? What is this supposed to mean? When is this going to come up? Whereas TriStat, as simple as it is mean that you can very quickly ad hoc and go, screw it, it's body. Is that wrong? Probably not, actually. I can only screw this. There's only 3 options. So I'm very, even if I just roll a D3, I'll probably get lucky and be correct.
That's good.
The man himself, Mark, the creator of this very game, says, "My game design philosophy has been heavily influenced by the Amber Diceless RPG by Eric."
I have that game. Great game. And I guess if I'm going to finish that out with my turn at the wheel there, or at bat, if you will, I got my start playing D&D like anyone else in the late 70s, or at least my age. And for superhero games, the first things on the market was Villains and Vigilantes, Champions, the superhero RPG, and then by the 80s, the Marvel Fassarip game, and then the DC game. And all of those ran the gamut from crunchy to something lighter. And like anyone else, I guess all my early game systems were all initially quite crunchy to very crunchy. And Big Eye, Small Mouth, and later Silver Age Sentinels was the first really light superhero game that I really grokked immediately and understood and loved. I did play the DC Universe RPG back in the day, and it's quite a bit lighter than the other games, but it's not as light as Silver Age Sentinels. And what I love most about Silver Age Sentinels in that vein is that it also offers the optional ability to make it slightly more complex if you want it, but it's purely an option. So if you want a quick pick up and play game at its core, that's what it is. You can just make characters, throw down a table, and get started playing, and it works great. But if you're going to play a longer campaign and you want that extra detail, the optional rules are there for you, and I love that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I love when a lot of those rules are a choice, for sure. And one of the first superhero games I tried was Oberon, and that game was a little rough around the edges. And I also played Oberon.
I don't think I know that one.
There
aren't very many that I don't know. I'm surprised.
It is made by White Wolf.
Aberrant. I've never heard it pronounced that way. So sorry.
I've never heard it pronounced before.
that game is actually Watchmen the RPG. It's anti-superheroes. It's deadly intentional. That's the whole point behind that game, is that the people who made it actually have gone on record on forums at the time saying they hate superheroes, and they made their game to be the superhero game for people who hate superheroes.
Yeah, that was the one that I played, and it was hard. It had potential, but it was dense. And then another one I played, a homebrew game in a Marvel setting, and that was fun. It was nice. I would not be opposed to playing in a Marvel or DC setting, because it's really cool to make a custom character and stand them next to established pop culture icon heroes. You know what I mean? It's very fun. Those are my thoughts on it. But before we dive any deeper into this game, it's about time for us to take our little breaky break.
We are about to get into some of the really cool stuff, though, Jahan. These character attributes are all the powers. So if you're here for a superhero game, you're about to see superpowers. That's just, I wanted to leave you on the edge of your seat for what's next.
That's good stuff. Yeah, so we're about to dive into the actual superpowers of Absolut Power, the superhero TTRPG from Daiscami Games. Thank you for the books once again, Mark, and we will be back shortly. Like 5 minutes, something like that. See you guys. Hey everybody, welcome back from the break, fresh out the box. Uh-oh, everything closed. Every single thing closed.
Oh no!
All of it closed. All right, we're still good. All right, hi everybody, welcome back. I don't know what I did, but I'm Johananon, the board game guru, game master extraordinaire, and not the technical wizard, apparently.
Yeah, I'm Casualty CDG. I'm the co-host of Fresh Out the Box. I'm a retired child crimes and human trafficking detective turned tabletop titan and improv comedian.
I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbidian. I'm a tabletop role-playing game and variety video game Twitch streamer and former community radio show host, music radio show host, rather.
Oh, that's awesome. My name is Riley Davis. I am also known as Rune online, and I'm nobody particularly important, just the way I love it. However, I am a old school grognard role-playing game player from way back when, and also, something of a video game aficionado as well. And superhero games are always going to be my first love, so this is right in my wheelhouse, discussing these sorts of things. I'm more excited than anything else just to have the chance to be here. Thanks. Let's get back into it.
Get back into it. Yeah, I've been playing with this coin I got from like a loot crate. And I never touch it, but now like my whole like recording studio smells bad. from the coin, and I don't like it.
What's on that coin?
I don't know. It
It's on your hands.
It smells terrible.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I'm thankful today that I am not in Jahan's recording booth.
It smells like, I don't know, it's this weird, like, metallic stank. I don't know. It's weird.
You know, Metallic Stank was my nickname in high school.
Metallic Snake was my Metallica cover band.
Metallic Stank would be a decent superhero name.
That's a good super villain.
I am Metallic Stank. I've come
It's like a
to
big
put the stank
shark.
on you.
It's a
What did
big
you have,
shark
Corbin? I know
robot
you
guy.
had one.
Yeah,
Oh, you did.
Corbinian's above this conversation.
Okay.
Man, I was just about to say skid mark too.
No, please.
Yeah, so we were talking about stats before the break. And you know, they have the rank description so that you have context for how strong something is. Stat value of 1 is an infant, highly inept. And then it goes all the way to 24, which is maximum superhuman achievement. So that's pretty good. That's above godlike superhuman ability. So that's pretty cool. This game
Super
goes,
Baby suddenly comes to mind. Oh.
Super Babies would be great. I would play that game.
One body, one mind, one spirit. Watch out for Super Baby.
But as shortcoming defect. But yeah,
Well,
so
you can see that on the chart, every attribute basically costs 2 points.
yeah, it does break down to 2 to 2. You know, it's pretty much you're going to be spending double what
There's
you're
options.
getting. Yeah.
Yeah, there's options though to change that.
So it seems like if you just went like full like stat hound, you could just have like big boy 48s sitting around. But I
Well-
mean, that doesn't sound fun to me. So
Well, no, remember the campaign power level limits that.
that's true.
Your stats are limited
Sure.
by the setting as well as the concept of your character that you're building. Like if you're building, you know, Batman, why would you give him Silver Surfer level mind?
I could see
Right.
that how that probably came from the Bessom like Tristat era where they used to have no limits and then they went, oh wait a minute, that's a bad idea. Let's
Right.
put in benchmarks and guidelines so we don't have high school kids able to throw trucks unless that's what you're going for.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No, I definitely
That's
appreciate it.
actually part of the game. Mhm.
Definitely appreciate it. Health points. So we'll just talk. We're going to talk about the derived stats real quick because we're about to get to the best part. We're about to get to superpowers. That's
Give me the
always my
juice.
favorite part. It's everyone's favorite
Give me
part.
the juice.
Health points. Body stat plus soul stat times 5. That's how much health you have. That's easy. Combat value. Body plus mind plus soul divided by 3. That's, I mean, slightly more
Okay.
complicated, but not really. And then
The
energy
average
points.
It's the average of the 3.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the average of the 3.
Just the average of the.
Mind stat plus soul stat times 5 is energy points. That's very easy. Okay, those are the drive stats. Boom, done. That was easy. Gary, where's this thing that you're talking about?
It is on page 63, my friend.
Oh, we're almost there. Here we go. Attribute entries. Are they called attributes?
They are called
Yes.
attributes.
Cool.
Oh, I'm following out. Okay.
Your 3 primary stats are just called the statistics. Then your derived statistics, and then everything else about your character is an attribute.
Okay, they roll them all into one. I think icons kind of refers to them in similar fashion.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, attribute entries. So this is just a breakdown so that you know what you're looking at. Blah, blah, blah. We'll skip that. I don't want to know what I'm looking at. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, man. Do I read them all?
Yeah, you read them all.
Oh,
All right, so here we go. Absorption, alternate form, alternate identity, armor, attack mastery, augmented, capacity, change state, cognition, combat technique, companion, cool.
Wink.
Damn it, Courtney. Connected, control environment, conversion, data access, defense mastery, dimension walk, excellent, dynamic
Ooh.
powers, elasticity, enemy attack, enemy defense, energized, exorcism, interesting. Expertise, extra actions, extra arms, features, flight, force field, gear, ground speed, healing, heightened awareness, heightened senses, illusion, immovable, immunity, immutable, inspire item, jumping, massive damage. I like massive damage. Melee attack, melee defense, merge. I definitely want to read more about merge. Metamorphosis. Is it metamorphosis? Yes.
Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis. Mimic. Mind control. Mind
Wow.
shield. Mini object. I don't know what that is. I'm excited to find out. Minions. Mulligan could be anything.
Rerolls.
Yeah, I guess it's a reroll.
Is this a reroll?
Well, basically
draw
every
a
rank
new
of
hand.
mulligan you take gives you two rerolls per game session.
Oh, okay. It's like you have like some luck manipulation, essentially.
Yeah. In older editions, it was referred to as luck.
That's funny. They just call it mulligan now. Nullify, plant control, pocket dimension. That's a dimension in your pocket. Portal, power flex, power variation, projection, range attack, range defense, regeneration, reincarnation. You guys ever read that comic Reincarnation, man? It just keeps coming back. Resilient, sensory block, sixth sense, size change, skill group, space flight. That's a cool power. Special movement, summon creatures, super sense, super speed, super strength, swarms, taunt, telekinesis, telepath, teleport, tough, transfer, transmute, tunneling, unaffected, undetectable, unique attribute, unknown power. That's cool. Water speed, wealth, and weapon. So those are all the powers. Those are all the powers at their core. That's just, you don't necessarily know what they all do, and I'm sure there's variation amongst their section. Yes, Gary.
High five.
Didn't see duplicate or multiply.
Yes, but as we have found out, sometimes that is under a different power. Like it could be under companion or summon.
So it's not under companion because that is a NPC that's controlled by the game master that has like its own stat block,
like Kato?
like a Robin type of Kato or Robin type of situations. Exactly right. It also isn't minion, but I guess it could be if you roleplayed it that way.
Oh, Mark says duplication is companion with limiters.
Companion with limiters.
Okay.
Wow.
So
Let me
boom.
go up there, Mark, because I'm a duplicatey boy. It's one of my favorite powers.
That's what he currently is. Yeah, duplication's fun. Man, we almost had a really cool superhero team once upon a time. With Mockingbird.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mockingbird would have been a cool duplicator. But it's stupid, remember? You remember?
Yeah, our friend told us that having superheroes with bird-themed names was stupid. Like,
I've heard worse. I've heard 100% worse.
Mockingbird is such a cool name for like a highly skilled.
I think bird names are great.
Yeah, bird names are great.
they're awesome. That's
Peregrine.
all of us. We were all
I think
on
they're a
the
bit
same
bird-brained.
page with all these awesome bird names, and our last team member was like, no. And didn't he was
Peregrine, Osprey. Like, there's so many really cool sounding bird names, like birds of
Condor.
prey.
You could be like Blackwing, Talon, probably not Beak, but you can do what you want, you have options. I am the hero Hollow Bones.
Agent is companion with
Yes, Rune.
limiters.
Are you guys familiar with anime much at all? Have you heard of Science and Ninja Team Gatchaman?
No, that's
Also,
that's
G-Force
absolutely
or
not.
Battles of the Planets here in the U.S.
No.
It was a show with 5 Sentai superheroes with matching bird-themed costumes.
Mm.
Great show.
I watch good
Like-
anime, thank you. No, sorry.
Anyway, I
No.
recommend Science and Ninja Gatchaman very highly. But yeah, they have great costumes, great theme.
That's fantastic. So yeah, we can look at some of these powers. We don't have to necessarily look at all of them. We usually don't. But we'll stop if anyone sees one that you're like, I want to know what that does. Stop me. We'll start with absorption though. Absorption can be a lot of things. Absorption represents a character who grows stronger, so they absorb kinetic energy attacks and physical impacts. Certain types of super soldiers, demons, elementals, giant monsters, And artifacts most frequently have this card. Cool. It has like a theming list, like an idea of who might have these powers. I like that. Let's see. What does it mean statistically, though? For each level of this attribute, the character can absorb and avoid and absorb up to 5 damage received from physical attacks for each level of this attribute, and change them into the same number of health or energy points before damage is inflicted. That seems pretty strong. The absorbed damage value is added to the character's current total immediately, which may temporarily raise the total above its normal maximum, no more than twice the normal amount, until the end of the combat encounter or dramatic scene. Damage stopped by a character's armor or force field attributes cannot be absorbed, nor can damage be both absorbed and converted at the same time. Those are good caveats. I like that. That's cool. That's not. Mm-hmm. That's actually not what I was expecting. And then here's something that we're more or less familiar with from icons: enhancements and limiters. They call them something else in icons, but the enhancement here listed here that I guess it's an optional addition to this power. Synergistic damage can be both absorbed and converted by the character's conversion attribute at the same time. Just said you couldn't do that, but you can enhance to do that. So that's awesome. Then limiter capped. The character's health or energy point total can never exceed its normal maximum value through the absorption of damage. So that is a limit you're putting on this power to make it weaker, probably to get like a point refund or something like that.
May I explain that?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't want to have to look it up. So
I will make it easy. In other games, you're right. These things would typically be called advantages or disadvantages, and they would modify the cost of the powers. In this game, the way it works is the power levels themselves are altered. So, for example, if you take absorption rank 4 and then you take a limiter on it, then you get absorption rank 5, even though you only paid the cost for rank 4.
Gotcha. Okay.
And likewise, a enhancement would be the exact opposite. If you put an enhancement on a power, then its effective level would be a rank or 2 lower than what you actually bought. So you could buy, say, 5 rank of weapons with a limiter, only affects certain enemies or can only be used in certain situations, and it would then... Oh, wait, that would be a limiter. I'm talking about enhancement. Let's say it's an armor-piercing enhancement, so it penetrates armor better. Then, even though you bought, say, 4 ranks of weapon, 2 ranks of armor piercing would mean you do 2 ranks of damage instead of the normal 4.
Okay, so you're essentially converting it into a weaker version that has its bonus.
Yes.
Cool.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Okay, done. Just trying out there.
No, that makes sense. We have alternate form here, and I'm going to run through some of these. Animal forms, elemental, chemical forms, flame form, melding form, mass decrease, mass increase, superhuman or magical form. Very cool. They have a lot of...
The next page makes me laugh so bad.
Two-dimensional form! What? That's awesome! I've always wanted to be a cartoon hero.
Paper, like, here we go.
Couldn't give me that power. I'd go finally marry my waifu.
Oh no.
I just want one-dimensional form. I'm just a point.
I'm just not that deep. You know, what you see is what you get. You know, it's my superpower. I'm one-dimensional, man. I like beer and sleeping.
What are you, everybody I went to school with?
Alternate identity. So this is one, I don't know what it is. I'm interested. But we're still in the A's. Let's see. It's a much less powerful version of alternate form attribute. Character has one alternate identity per level, which may vary in race, species, gender, looks, age, or even status. But the character's attributes do not change. The only exceptions... So this is like Batman and Bruce Wayne kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do find it funny that it's multiple... I thought it was going to say, like, oh, it's how deep the alternate identity is. Like, no, how many you have.
I like that, because, like, so the superhero that I played, his alter ego, he was, like, a spy. So, like, that power would be very cool for him. Armor. Everyone knows what armor does. It's cool. I like it. Picasso. Attack mastery. Yeah, it's a TikTok joke. I'm sorry. There's attack mastery. Innate killers and whatnot. Increases. Okay, so it just makes you better at attacking. Makes sense. Augmented. You're augmenting stats. Makes sense. Capacity. Any of these you guys want to know more about?
So it's actually change state that I've had my eye on, and that's the next one you're about to get to.
Go ahead and fucking crank that one out for me, pal.
So change state is liquid state, gaseous state, incorporeal, and energy state. And of course, your how many ranks you have in the ability is how long you can stay in that state.
Okay.
You can also get an enhancement quick change so that instead of taking a few seconds to channel, you could do it as like a reaction to an attack, even it says.
Ooh.
And so I thought incorporeal sounded like a cool character to play. And then I read the blurb for energy state, and I just thought that this should be reread. The energy can be represented by a force such as electricity, radiation, light, or sound, or can represent a more abstract state of energy such as emotion, data, dream, or many other possibilities.
Oh man, I want to avoid attacks by turning into a steaming pile of sadness.
So I thought that was just, we were talking earlier about having that inspiration written into the character creation. That is just super inspiring just to read that. It's like,
that's the grease
whoa!
right there, man. That is that creative grease.
That's it. That's the stuff. So that was me, man. I had eyes on change state, and now I'm trying to figure out how I can be a cognition change state ghost that can just tell you guys about stuff and can't interact with anything.
What's cognition do?
Cognition does precog or post-cognition, depending on how many levels you have in it. So I could just float up and be like, guys, I'm sorry that I can't like pick up anything or help you fight, but I know exactly what happened here. And so here's all I can do to help.
Hey, man, that has its place for sure. Where would they be? Where would they be in Invincible if it wasn't for their demon detective friend? You know?
Oh, I love that demon in Invincible.
What a cool loved character. Him.
Man,
loved him.
I can't wait for Invincible season 2.
I love Hellboy, and I love Etrican. I love those kinds of characters. They're really fun for me. I don't know if you know Etrican. I don't know a lot about him, but I see him in the. He's I think Jason Blood maybe, and he is a human who he sometimes is a demon, and it's fun. I like it. It's a DC thing. Enhancement. Natural male enhancement. Boom. Oh, here's the enhancement quick change. Right. Okay. I thought that was power. There's cognition.
Cognition. After cognition is combat techniques, which there are a ton. Blind fighting, blind shooting, brutal, concealment, critical strike, death dodge, deflection, extended range, flanking, judge opponent, lethal blow, lightning reflexes, multi-target, portable armory, precise aim, reflection, rush attack, steady hand, 2 weapons, and weapon encyclopedia.
You said a lot of cool stuff right there. Yeah, go ahead, Rude.
I'm glad you read through all those. They are analogous to like taking a feat in D&D. Every one of those little techniques is like a little modifier.
Yeah, that's what it
a
feels
character
like.
Might have similar to a feat.
I really like it. I feel so like you said a lot of stuff.
Tweaks your character a lot.
Obviously, you went through them because that's what we're doing. But like, I feel like some of those, like there are whole character concepts buried within these.
There are, and this is what's cool is that's just one. That's just combat technique.
That's just combat technique.
That's it.
I really like this a lot. This is cool because I feel like those characters that want to be, Daredevil, Green Arrow, that kind of stuff. I feel like that's often lacking in favor of more spectacular powers, blah, blah, blah. I think it's really cool here. You have Blind Fight. You have Portable Armory. Sick. You have, you get all this cool
extended range.
Extended range. Judge opponent, I feel, cannot be understated here. I feel like that's something people always want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I want to look for a week. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it. 2 weapons. yeah, I don't know. This is cool.
Man,
enjoying
hey
this.
Jahan, can I play a character that has extended range and 2 weapons, but both of my weapons are bows?
That hurts me. That hurts me so much.
Maybe.
I will use my hands and feet to shoot them.
Now, what you do is you have hooks on your shoulder, and you go like this.
Yeah, that's good too. See, I was thinking I had like bows on my shoes, and so I put my leg up and grabbed the and fire, so I could take steps.
They
shoot.
have a multiple arm feat as well.
Oh yeah, 4 arms.
You just
2
have 4
bows.
arms. Yeah.
Okay.
Even
No
better.
one, no one can argue that. The other ones are bullshit, but that one works.
I'm glad you called it for what it was. No.
Oh wow! But yeah, so this is what we're talking about. See how much fun we're having just like at this part. This is great. This is a good book. Companion is here, and like we said earlier, it's like you can have like a Kato, or a sidekick, or an Alfred. Or a Gordon. Actually,
Or another you.
yeah, or another you. Actually, I want to see that part. Where is that? Oh, it must be a part of like general limiters or something.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But yes, connected. The connected attribute represents a character's close relationship with a hierarchy of some sort and grants them access to. Okay, cool. So boom. This is something that I always feel is missing from a lot of TTRPGs. It's very present in a lot of D10 systems. They have a whole social like stat block, and among it is like people who work for you, people who are loyal to you, like level of power. I don't know, like connected is a cool thing if you want to be the kind of person that is a CEO or the head of some sort of organization. The Shadow Cats. I don't know. Whatever.
My modern age character has connections out the wazoo.
Yes, that's a good example. Yeah, your modern age character Norman is a part of an organization section. Yeah.
Yes, Rune.
I actually would like to point out, Ultimate Comics version of Thor would have connections his own religion, because in the Ultimate Comics there are people who actually worship Thor.
Yeah.
You don't see it in the standard Marvel universe, but in the Ultimate universe that was a whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's a very that's a way of looking at it that I might not have. That's a very true. Like you could be a cult leader,
Or you could be an actual god.
Or you could be an actual god, yeah.
An actual Norse god, or Hercules or something
Yeah.
like that, right? Like that's a superhero character, so sure.
That's friggin' dope. So they have that built in. Like we keep seeing all this stuff, and it's just these characters are flying out of our mouths faster than we can even breathe. So that's a good sign. Enhancements, significant power, great power. Okay. Control environment. Character can initiate minor influences in the surrounding, such as light, darkness, heat, cold, humidity, sound, smell, specific weather. That kind of stuff.
Humidity. You're damp now.
That'd be so funny. You're like a corporate saboteur. And you go into clean rooms and just make it humid. Yeah, what's up, man?
God.
Rude.
Oh, I wanted to mention that Mark mentioned in the chat that the duration limiter on Companion is for summoning your clones. So in other words, instead of having just companions that are always there, they're regular people, you put the duration limiter on it so that they're only there for a limited time, and they're just other use.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay.
They're companions
Thank
that
you,
go
Mark.
away. Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Definitely thank you.
And with that, you could even do like Genie from Aladdin, or just like a Final Fantasy summon, or like a Megazord or something. I don't know. You could do cool stuff.
I thought you were going with I Dream of Genie. I was completely thrown for a second.
Yeah,
They have the summon power too, so
yeah, absolutely. Control environment.
Right.
You are moist.
I remember that
Conversion.
guy.
Conversion, a character with this attribute temporarily gains new abilities after suffering damage. Cool. Wow. Cannot be.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Red Phoenix. That's a cool picture. It's a cool picture. I'd hang that right up on my wall.
Put it on tin type.
That's another thing. Sometimes you read these books, they don't have the best artwork, and that's fine. I understand. If you're an indie, art is expensive. This art, fantastic. This art, you guys really did put the money down and get some good art for this. Data access, excellent. With a successful mind stat roll, characters with this attribute can access, read, and understand data from all computers or digital technology in the surroundings. Very cool. Defense mastery denotes innate danger instinct, character's intimate knowledge of wide-range defensive combat techniques. Cool. Dimension walker. I bet you can walk between dimensions. Ooh.
The big one.
Yeah, this is a big one. Dynamic powers represent extensive control over a minor element, ideology, natural phenomenon, or sphere of influence. At low levels, a character is an initiate and can only affect small change in the attribute's influence. At high levels, a character holds mastery over a particular realm and has an intimate understanding of all things relating to the attribute sphere. Examples of minor categories include classical elements, earth, fire, wind, water, a limited concept or idea, lust, protection, charm, pride, a minor aspect of nature, temperature, friction, insects, sunlight, clouds. Cool. So you can take a big thing here.
Yeah, you might want to look at that cost.
Yeah.
That makes sense. The attribute cost is 10 per level. That makes sense.
Level.
It's definitely a catch-all. That feels like a catch-all power. That's not a bad thing. It's nice to have that when you're like, look, I couldn't think of all the powers, guys. Here, fill in the blank. Here, it costs 10 points a level wide because it's pretty wide what you're doing.
I actually do appreciate that because sometimes you don't want like, oh well, I want to be Storm. I don't want to have to choose like water and lightning powers and then like mix it all. Like I want to have a breadth of ability, and that's cool to be able to do. But I'm interested to see how it works, but I'm going to move on. Elasticity, everyone's favorite power. Stretchy! Ooh! I like that at level 1, their body can stretch up to 10 centimeters, which is so negligible. like that's like being like, hey, look, I'm bigger. And it's like, are you? Like, no one would be able to tell until you had like level 3 powers.
Oh man, I was thinking like a martial art guy where he does the punch. It's like, haha, I dodge it, dunk. Ah, damn it.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to do with a martial art. He could just like stretch just a little bit. That's
like Muhammad Ali, got that extra reach.
Extra snap.
And he was a great boxer because he had them long arms.
Enemy attack. For each level, the character gains a +2 bonus to their attack combat value whenever they are battling specific types of opponents. Cool. It's like a favorite enemy thing.
Yeah.
I thought you gained enemy attacks or something like Final Fantasy style. You learned their ability. I can now do your attack. Like, wait, hold on.
This is how you can be your vampire hunter and get extra damage for it, or to your combat value.
Mark,
or imagine an entire team of like super agents, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. type guys who have enemy attack combat metahumans.
Yeah.
Like they're tasked with bringing down metahumans, so
Hell
they're good at it.
And then enemy defense is the very same thing. You have a specialized thing that you are good at defending against. Energized. Possessing this attribute increases energy points of the character, allowing them to draw from a greater pool. That's good.
Oh shit! I just saw what Daisgami said in the chat. I'm sorry.
And Daisgami has alluded that 10 centimeters.
Oh, I knew someone was going to say that, but I didn't think it would be Mark.
I didn't think it would be Mark either. 10 centimeters, isn't a lot in
I knew somebody would.
But it can be pretty substantial.
Hey, win bar bets. That's
in
what that
social
means.
settings.
There you go, John. Social
In
settings.
social settings. Well, I don't know, it's 10 centimeters. It's a pretty big deal. But yeah, exorcism, a cool power to have here. A character of this attribute knows how to perform or create rituals, charms, or spells, or has psychic powers that are capable of releasing through touch the victims of supernatural entities, possession, or mental domination. So this does go on to straight up mind control. You can like
Yeah.
deprogram people. Exorcism, more of a catch-all than you would expect, which I appreciate. I like it when it
It
can
can
do.
also reverse the effects of metamorphosis if it's a soul-based metamorphosis,
Ooh,
which it says
Right.
down in the third paragraph. So yeah, it even has a little bit more.
that's cool.
That's great.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's extremely cool. I hadn't read that yet. That's very cool.
I like that a lot. Expertise, character displays a dominant talent in certain selected situations and gains minor or major edge. Cool.
Edges. Can I explain edges for you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
Okay, edges is a new game mechanical term just invented for the new modern editions of these games. That is 4th edition Big Eyes Small Mouth, 4th edition Silver Age, Absolute Power, Silver Age Sentinels 2.0. Basically, an edge is sort of like a variation on advantage in 5th edition. In this game, when you're rolling a check, either an attack roll or a defense roll against an attack, or a body stat or mind or soul stat check, for example, you roll 2d6 and add your modifier. An edge enables you to roll an additional die and keep the 2 highest. A minor edge is 1 more die, so you roll 3 die, keep 2. A major edge is you roll 4 dice, keep the 2 highest. That's like full advantage.
That's pretty dope.
So that's what edges are.
Very cool. So you can get edges. Edges are dope. It's a
And
lot.
you can have edges that apply to different stat checks, different powers, different things you do, etc. Very cool.
No, it sounds like this system does justice, like we were talking about earlier, does justice to the street level brawlers and
What?
gadget people.
Oh, yeah.
Mark, why? Mark, why?
Picking a
The
lock
ex-
with your finger, Gary.
No, John. The extra arms. I got ahead of you by just half a page. The extra arms, John. Why? Mark, why?
That's funny.
Oh no! Why would you need that many arms?
Why?
1,000 extra arms.
Hey, I've seen some anime where they have dudes like that.
That's good.
I think that
I
new
mean,
game
you're
that
not
just came
wrong.
out,
Yeah.
what's that game that just came out? Elden Ring? That has a boss like that.
It does. I just actually
Yeah.
killed. I think Godric is his name, and he has arms growing
Oh,
all
okay.
out of his body.
You know more than I do.
I
Okay,
just
but
beat
yeah,
that boss today.
good for you.
Elden Ring is hot fire. I would like to say.
I've heard it's good.
I've been having a lot of fun with it. Extra arms, yeah, it goes from 1 extra arm, which I like that it doesn't default to 2. That's also funny to me. But you can have just 3 arm guy. You can have all the way up to 1,000.
Yep.
Well,
That
that
means
one
you
arm
can-
could be a tail. Like, for example,
Yeah,
you don't have to
that's
define it as
true.
an arm.
That's true.
You could buy just one for 1 point and have a prehensile tail like Nightcrawler.
You could just be you could be like the Pokemon Tangela.
I am going to play
Way over my head.
an archer with 500 bows.
You're just going to be a ball of arms and bows?
Yep, that's exactly
Volley
right.
Fire. That's the name of the character.
Hey, that's a good name.
Volley's a good name. Extra
Wally.
boom. So every time we read a thing, we stop and make a character. That's definitely a good sign for this game. That means that this game is inspiring. Features. Character possesses various secondary abilities that grant useful but minor advantages. GM may decide that some specific features are too trivial to require a character to purchase this attribute to represent it. Okay. Personal features. Features can be used to grant various minor talents such as Edict Memory, Perfect Pitch, or Weather Sense. So this is for all the silly nonsense that a lot of people like. Sometimes I want to add this stuff, but there's no rules for it, and I don't want to feel like I'm just trying to make my character so cool. This helps. Let's see, racial features like armor ratings, and then cat-like reflexes for like the cat people, that kind of stuff. Technological features.
Personal
Examples include.
computer, radar detector, medical kit.
Hey, GM,
Sure.
what if I want a PC at home? Yeah, take a point of features. I like that there's rules.
Some of these features can be used pretty creatively. For example, what if you imagine that your character is an android of some sort,
Yeah.
and you have literally infallible computer memory? You
Yeah.
could take eidetic memory as a feature and
Exactly.
literally never forget anything you ever see or hear.
And then I'm obligated to remind you if you ever do forget. which
Obligated
I don't mind.
to let you know that you can take a naked enhancement, Jahan, on page 83, and it's not what it sounds like.
Okay, so yeah, it also goes into appearance to be attractive. Foreign language, where you can speak more languages, which I appreciate that that's there. Naked enhancement. Some enhancements can be isolated as a naked enhancement without being assigned to a specific weapon attribute. These are most often assigned to items and gear, though they may apply to characters as well. For example, a rifle scope has an accurate enhancement that makes it easier to hit targets, but the scope is detachable and not part of the actual weapon item, and thus naked.
Naked.
Okay, so that's like if you want to have cool like gear and stuff.
That's sick. That's sick as hell.
Honestly, like we're not fully. If you're watching, we're not fully selling you on the features part. Features can be so many things. It's pretty much everything mundane or that you would maybe feel uncomfortable trying to take. You know, be like, I have a computer and a car and 12 guns and I speak
360-degree vision.
Where's that?
On the racial features. It's the first one.
Oh wow, I want that.
Right? Like, oh my god.
Oh, here's some. Those are examples. Yeah, ambidexterity's there. Yeah, all those things.
Multiple hearts.
What else?
Yep. They do have a separate attribute called items, however, that covers things like cars.
Okay.
And weapons. So be careful with that. Actual weapons that have value in the game and cars that would provide you with protection while you're in them and stuff like that, those would be purchased as items instead.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or they could be just purchased with wealth, but then you don't have any protection. If they get blown up, you have to buy another one.
But you can buy, it looks like, more abstract things like a modern vehicle tech suite or a revolving license plate. So when you ended up buying your car, you would have those features. For your car.
Right.
Yeah. Revolving
like you build the item, then you put the features on the item. Right.
The fact that this is here means that I don't have to put up with any like oh, but I have, like you got.
Right. Did you pay points for it?
Yeah, did you pay points for it? Exactly. Yeah. I
They only cost 1 point. You might as well if you want it. Yeah.
This book.
I would say the best way to do that when people are starting a new game,
if
I may interject, is to maybe keep 5 points back from every player for random additions.
That's not
so that when they come up with something they want to add, they just spend a point and take it. And
that's
fair.
On
their character from then on.
That's fair because I do hate limiting when someone has a cool idea. Definitely,
especially when you're coming to a new game or a new system and you don't actually know what you're building.
Right.
And then you get to answer those things and find out as you go. I think that's a great idea.
I might I might just be, because I'm more the GM, I'll be like, hey, now that we're starting the game, here's 5 points. Like surprise points.
Sure.
Like above.
Well, I'll take a van down by the river. It's got a beautiful painting of a dragon on the side of it. All right.
I do enjoy Flight has the limiters glide, maintain, skim, and spread. I like that it's not just flying.
Right.
There are degrees of it. I do appreciate that. Force field, very cool. Ooh, an enhancement for force field that makes it airtight so you can make people die. And then another one that blocks incorporeal people. That's cool. Blocks teleportation, field penetrating. Those are cool extras. Regenerating offensive, limiters both directions, impacting internal. Very cool. Gear.
I like all of that.
I like it too. I've never seen force field, so yeah, go ahead, Red.
Well, I was going to mention while you're on force field, even though it's not listed right here by it, there's also, as you said, a whole bunch of general limiters and enhancers available at the end of the power section. And for example, area effect would be very commonly applied to someone like the Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
Who can create force fields to protect others with as well as herself.
It's pretty cool.
So, yep. There's lots more variety in all of these than just the powers themselves because you can tweak every power.
Yeah, you can tweak them to be wildly different from their base, which is awesome. It's awesome.
So, like I said, the complexity is there if you want it, but the base game, fairly simple.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Gear. The gear attribute represents a character's access to useful but not overly powerful equipment. Characters do not need to spend points for mundane things, blah, 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 for like pens and knives. Gear versus items. So yeah, you can have gear. That's how you have some gadgets, some like maybe like some spelunking gear, or a cool motorcycle helmet. That like I don't know, stuff like that. Stuff that you don't want to, stuff that's kind of trivial, but you need to account for. Ground speed.
It says this attribute is typically only assigned to vehicles and mechanical contraptions built as gear or items since they have no base running speed.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's more for other things.
That is correct.
Fair enough. Healing. You can heal other people through touch. That's cool. Heightened
And they
senses.
said that healing can also reverse the effects of metamorphosis if it's a physical change instead of a mental change.
That is nifty. I like that. Heightened awareness. It's like Spidey senses. Heightened senses is like vampire senses. Illusion. We all know what illusion is.
I have dark vision. Sorry. Heightened senses. I have dark vision.
I have dark vision. Immovable. It's your just ability to not budge, which I do like as its own thing. Immunity. With an attribute, the character is completely immune to attack damage and adverse environmental effects that stem from a particular weapon element, application, or event. For example, a character with level 2 immunity to silver cannot be hurt by silver weapons, and perhaps would not even feel pain if clubbed by a pouch full of silver coins. So yeah, it can be that, or it could be other stuff. I do appreciate
Attacks from a small opponent group, such as siblings. I'm immune to my brother punching me in the arm. No, no, GM. You can't get me with this. My siblings, I'm immune.
Can I have immunity to emotional damage, please?
Emotional damage.
What I wouldn't give for that.
It sounds like a level 10 power to me.
Being immune to siblings is trivial to you, but like to Zeus or something, could be.
Yeah.
Could be a more expensive power for him.
Could be pretty useful. Immutable. A character with immutable is protected against effects that can transform, alter, or displace. It's like how you can't transform shapeshifters in Dungeons & Dragons. You can't polymorph a shapeshifter because they can shapeshift.
Right. It comes in
change
ranks.
back, man.
Inspire. You can inspire people. But that can also it looks like this feeds directly into like cults of personality and like being a voice that can be an issue for people.
Friendship is magic,
Friendship. Items. You got your items here. This is what you were talking about earlier, Rune, I believe. This is the item section. Attribute cost is different. It's 1/2 normal value. So you look up the value of the item, say a $20,000 car, but it's only 10,000 points. I'm just kidding. They probably have it broken down in a different way.
Well, yeah, you basically build the item with attributes just like you would a suite of powers,
Gotcha.
and then they're half cost for being an item. So, for example, Iron Man's armor is all the powers that he gets when he's wearing the armor, the weapons, the enhanced sensor suite, and everything else. Jarvis, and then all of that is built into its little package, and it's all at half cost.
I like
because
that.
It's an item you can take or lose.
Yeah,
Right.
I like that a lot because
Or it could be broken.
it's a lot like the summon ability in Icons, I believe, where you like make an entire another character essentially. That's cool. You get to build your equipment as
Right. Just add it right on. Right.
That is cool. I do like that.
Yep. The difference between items and gear is that gear is basically normal stuff, and items are things that you have to build with attributes because they're better than normal stuff.
Yeah, like the Batmobile, Iron Man suit,
the Sword of Omens.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a good one. Man, that's cool. Oh man,
Mjolnir.
My mind's racing now.
Yeah, Mjolnir, Thor's hammer.
A Green Lantern ring.
Yes.
Ah man. I'm like stuck now in my brain. My mind's like racing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, jumping is obviously a potential superpower. Massive damage. Character with massive damage attribute knows precisely how and where to hit an opponent to inflict incredible amounts of damage. All characters start with a base damage multiplier. So it increases your multiplier, and it just makes you better at doing damage. That's cool. Melee
It's
attack.
just flat damage, right? It's just more and more and more flat damage.
Ah, yeah,
Right.
you're
And then limiters can make it versus certain opponents, or only when you're underwater, like Name of the Submariner, maybe.
that makes sense.
Mhm.
That makes sense. See, it does sound like they have all of their bases covered. I have yet to come. I can't think of something you couldn't build yet.
Oh yeah, this game's very flexible.
Yeah, if we could think of one, me and Gary will. But
Yeah, let's
This
everybody.
everyone
we've got some time
brainstorm.
left. Everyone start thinking outside the box.
Yeah, start thinking about.
I'm pretty sure anything you think of, I can build.
Hey, if that's the case, excellent.
I'll take the challenge.
Well, Rune, I want you to think of something you can't build then.
Oh, I don't know if I can. I got a pretty wild imagination, though. Now that you think about it.
That's the challenge. Let's see. Let's think of a superhero we can't build with this system.
Okay.
I
Just
do
for
think
funsies.
at this point I do feel like we're not going to be able to, but maybe. Let's see. Melee attack is a group of attributes that represent expertise in offensive close combat weapons. Unique attribute. It's a catch-all. That's funny. Melee defense. Same thing as melee. All right, merge. Here we go. The
Merge.
attribute
This one's
is this one sounds cool. I want to check this one out. This attribute is most often assigned to enhanced vehicles and mechanical items, but can also apply to your weapons, armor. Oh, that's sick. 2 or more items must have the merge attribute at the same level to represent how these individual items can temporarily join together to create a powerful new item.
Megazord.
Yeah, you can Power Rangers this shit, man. That's dope.
Or Voltron, whichever.
I wasn't going to say it, but that's exactly what this is, yes.
Go Power Rangers. Hell yeah. All right. Metamorphosis. This offensive attribute is used to alter a touched person's species, power, background profile, or size for short duration.
Metamorphosis is really cool.
Typically up to 1 minute. Yeah, it is cool. Different species are defined by origin templates, which we've talked about, which are packages of attributes and defects, blah, blah, blah. While a person is transformed, any stat modifier attribute or defect they possess that is normally the result of their current origin template goes away. Abilities unrelated to the character's origin are unaffected. The character then gains a new metamorphosis template instead. So it can really mess up your day. That sounds like a lot of stuff to think about during a game, but it could be fun for like an arc. What's up, Rune?
I have the power to transform my opponents into little bunny rabbits.
There you go.
Remember when we talked about how there is no such thing as game balance in superhero games, and you
Yes.
shouldn't even think about it for a second because you'll just die if you try?
Yeah.
The power of reincarnation at level 1, up to 1 month later, you can reincarnate. But for extra limbs, you get one extra arm.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's fair.
No, I'm not complaining.
I'm not complaining.
Just an observation.
It is-
This is
it is a good
exactly the way
It is what it is, right.
superhero games need to be this way.
I mean,
Well, even with reincarnation, the later thing it says that even at level 1, because I was thinking that too, is like reincarnation seems very cheap for what it is. And it's like, well, yeah, but it's very easy to counter usually. So if they burn your body, you're done. Or if they put a stake in you, you're done. It's like, oh,
Actually, I
okay.
think that's a limiter.
Yeah.
I think typically the normal result is that it's hard to stop. And if you take a limiter on it, then it can become easier to stop. Like,
Yep.
for example, a vampire, and everybody knows that if you stake them and behead the body, then
It looks
it
like
won't
it's
come
actually
back.
the other way around. It looks like you take an enhancement.
Oh, it is the
to
other way
make it
around?
difficult.
Yeah, it's by default, it's easy to stop.
So it's an
That's why it's
enhancer
so
to
cheap.
make it hard. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it was one or the other.
that's really cool. I like everything you guys just said is cool as shit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no. Even at level 1 though, if you're coming, how long does you say it takes to come back?
A month.
Yeah,
month.
see your character's not playable for an in-game month. That still sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, depending on your game master, you might not play your character for a whole month when you're hosting D&D at your house.
Yeah.
I'm not still butthurt. Don't look at me.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was funny.
That was worst, man. It was like 4 sessions. Everybody came to my house, made food, hung out, and I didn't get to play. I just sat at the table waiting.
Yeah.
You didn't give him an alternate character?
I was not running. I was not.
It wasn't
You're talking
bad.
about DM, buddy.
And it was literally in the same dungeon. They never left the same dungeon for 4 sessions, and so at the end of it, the game master was like, well, really only like 30 minutes passed. It just seemed like it took an entire month for you to get to play again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
I
DM needs
remember.
a little
I
more
was
practice.
there. I was
Oof.
there. Yeah, man, you should have definitely been able to get back in the mix. Mimic. God damn it, that's a good story, bro. Mimic. I like how Rune jumped on me. I was like, that wasn't me. I would never.
I didn't say it was you. I'm just saying, like,
I
what?
said it was you. You're covering for
Oh
him. No.
Of course, one of you said it was me. Yeah. That's funny. The characters contemporarily mimic one attribute or stat of any single touched character for a duration of 1 minute. Super cool.
Oh, there you go.
I like that. And once again, attributes are powers. So you can straight up rogue people. Excellent. Love it.
Yep.
One of the enhancements is all powers. You could take all of
That's right.
somebody's powers. That's super dope. Mind control. I'm pretty sure we know what that does.
Wahahaha. Wait,
Um,
here's a weird one. When the GM deems appropriate.
Yes. So this is so important because, well, actually, if the character commands their target to perform a number of mundane activities, cleaning out, blah, 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 the GM may decide that the target does not receive an opportunity to break established control. Okay. So if you're not, like, forcing them to confront their demons, they might just kind of stay zoned out. Okay, I thought this was like a stopping the bad parts of mind control in games.
There's a limiter
there-
on there, Jahan.
Yeah.
There's actually a suite of limiters. They all cost a different amount of points. The final one, though, is the single category. It counts as 4 limiters, and you'd only be able to mind control a single targeted group, such as family members, mutants with specific genes, or members of a particular organization, or poodles.
So, once again, my mind is racing with possibilities. So many things you could do.
Poodle army.
You know, like
You say it? Aquaman Submariner's ability to control marine life?
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I didn't think about that one. I was thinking, you know, how we were talking about how you could be a worshipped god. Maybe you can
So-
only mind control people that worship you. Or you know,
Rune, the one that
Sure.
you said would actually fall into the counts as 3 limiters. That one's restricted to specific targets like dogs, lizards,
Right,
people
right.
obsessed with beauty. So that one's actually even a little bit broader, which is nice.
Well, you'd also want the area effect, though, or more targets or whatever enhancements. So it would probably balance out to regular cost. But you'd want to hit multiple targets and then get everything within a certain type group. Exactly. But yeah,
I
it's all here.
appreciate
Yes, just
the variation
mind
of mind
control.
control because I've seen a lot of mind control in other games, and it does not necessarily do this. The very
and it
Yeah.
does start, Jahan, as a 1 target, 1 touch, like touch for 1 minute. So that's where your base is for mind control before you
Right.
start
So
throwing stuff
to
on
make it out away from you as an enhancement to get an area.
Mhm.
very cool. Mind
all
shield.
enhancements.
You can shield your mind. Don't touch me. Mini object I've been wanting to read. I only assign this attribute to not. Okay, so now it makes a lot more sense that we've talked about how you stat out items.
Oh.
A mini object is a tiny. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You're like making, like a tiny little, like a noisy cricket, or, you know,
Mhm.
something like that. Very cool. You can just make something compact that, like a supercomputer that's actually a laptop. If you want to be like a super tech character, you could do that with this. Very cool. I like that. Minions. The minions attribute represents the extent of a character's loyal and dedicated human or creature resources. So this can be henchmen, guards, flunkies, groupies, stooges, toadies, etc. Are eager to carry out the character's commands. So cool. Boom. Level 1
Could also
is
be
up
clones.
to 5. Can also be clones.
Yeah, it's exactly like that's how I use my clones, is much more as minions.
Yeah.
I don't really need them all statted out as much.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah, so level 1 gets you up to 5, but level 10 is up to 5,000.
Good lord.
We're not rolling
Could
those
you
dice.
imagine my 5,000 minions, each with 1,000 arms?
Excuse me.
And 500 bows.
You have to pay the points for the bows separately.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. Oh, man.
Where are you going to get 50,000 bows?
Where are you going to get
Probably
enough
on
Home
arrows?
hardware.
Where are you going to get quivers for that?
Amazon.
Yeah, where are the
Well,
arrows?
no. Some of the minions are Fletchers. Some of them are Boyers.
They just go and like consume a forest like locusts. Wealth level 1 is what Mark says.
Well, yeah.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, here's mini objects. They tell you how small you can make stuff. So you can make a nuclear reactor the size of a human cell in theory. just saying. In theory.
I'm loving this picture on the Mulligan page. The picture
Yeah.
of Deadeye Chimp.
I know the character.
I'm all about Deadeye Chimp. Like I'm ride or die for Deadeye Chimp now.
I
actually have the previous edition game book that details his personality. I can tell you all about him. I'm not going to now, but I can later.
I might like him more than Confederape from Icon. And
He's pretty great.
Confederape's pretty great. Mulligan, once again, this is like you get an amount of rerolls per session. Level 1 gets you 2. And that costs you 1 point. Taking that.
Yeah.
Nullify. Character can temporarily render the attributes of another touch person unusable for approximately 1 minute. That's rough. That is rough.
You do have to do a test. That's the good thing about a lot of these things. Like
Yes.
you still have to roll. It's like I nullify roll. I don't nullify guys. That's
That changes a lot, yeah, because you don't necessarily want to go touch Juggernaut if it's not guaranteed that you're gonna turn off his power. Because if you fail, he'll probably kill you.
Yeah.
Enhancements.
Why are you tickling me? No reason.
Those are enhancements. Oh, enhancements and limiters and nullify. Ooh, there's a lot of them. Multiple attributes. Okay, that makes sense. And then groups, species. Interesting. Plant control.
That's plant control.
Yeah. Plant control is obviously plant control. It's actually a pretty small little section there. Okay.
Control plants within an orbital-sized area. I am Gaia. Fear me.
Captain Planet.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle turning people into trees makes me laugh really hard.
What's even better about that is Captain Planet is the only hero I can think of. His strength is also his weakness. Like his entire point to existing is to fighting against and destroying the corruption of the forest and toxic waste, and his weakness is corruption of the forest and toxic waste.
Yeah, no,
That's weird.
I mean, hey, that's a good good character design, I think. Pocket Dimension. This
I
actually
like
allows.
pocket dimension. It's nothing special or nothing secret. It is just a pocket dimension, but I still like the idea of it.
You get a plane of existence.
I love Hammer Space. I always will.
Yeah.
Always.
And your levels here control how large it is, from a tiny dimension of 10 centimeters at level 1 all the way up to an orbital-sized dimension at level 10.
Hey, 10 centimeters can be a lot in social situations. Hey.
That's what I've heard.
Especially
I'm
if it's
pretty
a
sure Galactus
radius.
has that.
Holy shit.
I'm pretty sure Galactus actually has that high one.
Hey!
That's a raid!
Only Play Wizards. Thank you so much for the raid. Only Play Wizard is a Green Ronin friend of ours that runs the Abraxas Precipice Expanse game over there on Only Play Wizards. Thank you so much for the raid. We are currently going over Absolute Power, the absolute newest superhero TTRPG out now from the Skami Games.
Just passed its Kickstarter with all goals hit.
Yeah, just now got funded, and boom, we have the book and the creator in the chat if you want to talk to him.
Yes, Mark C. McKinnon is right here. He will field your questions, and we'll all laugh at you if they're bad.
Elasticity level 1, pocket dimension level 1 is what Mark says. That's all you need to build a character.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you could like make your finger disappear. All right, that's you could do really lame magic tricks with pocket dimension level 1. I like that.
Yes, yes, you could.
I like that. Portal. This attribute allows a character to create a portal, hole, doorway, or rift, typically no larger than 1 meter radius. Very cool. They can do all kinds of stuff. They can go between different places. They can go through stuff. There's a lot on Portal. I like that. Power Flux. Power Flux represents extensive control over a minor element, ideology, natural. So this is like that other skill, except like on a minor scale. If you remember.
I can help you out with this. Dynamic powers is like
that one.
the version you would use if you don't want to stat everything out with hard numbers and you just want to keep it broad and descriptive. And if you need something with more mechanical crunch to describe what you can do with your versatile powers, like say you're the Silver Surfer and you can manipulate the cosmic power and give yourself new attributes at will, that's Power Flux.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, and you get flux points. It's a whole thing. I do like. It's like there's a system within the system for some of these, and I like that in this case. Enhancements are cool. Those are cool ones.
You're right, Jahan. It really does feel like some of the character concepts wouldn't even play the same as others.
Yeah, some of them would actually have
really,
some different gameplay,
which gives this game some real. I'm like thirsty for replayability on this game already.
I feel like this game's got some gravy, man. It's got some real gravy. Some gravy toss.
This game's pumping out the juice for sure.
Power variation. This very flexible attribute is similar to Power Flux, but more focused. It also represents control over an element, ideology, natural phenomenon, or various evolutes. However, power variation limits the character to a small assortment of previously assigned attributes, amongst which their associated character points can be exchanged once a minute or dramatic scene. Luminous Saber. Waiting for my copy of the game at this point. Eager to get a game going for my table. Yes! So we have someone that has the book and is waiting for it. Awesome. You're not going to be disappointed. We've been reading it for a few hours now, and it is A-okay. Projection.
I think you're going to love the introduction.
Yeah, the introduction is really good. Yeah, sir, Ron.
Oh, before you moved on from power variation, Dascami wrote it in the or Mark wrote in the chat. Divert all power to shields. So he's right. What that power represents is, for example, you may have characters that you've seen if you're familiar with the Champions tabletop role-playing game, who might have a power structure called a variable power pool or something like that. So power variation is where you take existing powers on your character, and power variation enables you to move the power points around between them, so that in one round you may put your power on your defenses to be less likely to be harmed. On another round, if you really want to knock someone out, you can lower your defenses to have more power in your attacks or more accuracy with them or whatever, but you predefine what attributes you have that are variable with your power variation.
Cool, like maybe you can only fly when you're not, doing your...
Or maybe you fly faster when you don't have your shield up. Right.
Yeah. Cool. No, that's... Wow. You really can. You can make some pretty specific stuff with this, and I like it a lot. No, very cool. Mark says you're an old pro, Rune. You're nailing it.
Awesome. Glad to know I'm helpful.
No, it's good to have someone that knows the system. Normally, me and Gary are going into these things blind, so it is cool to have like a pool of
It's
knowledge.
funny when we go in blind. We don't know what the hell we're doing until like the last 40 minutes. And we're like, oh shit, no.
We're like,
babbling for the past 2 hours.
It all comes together.
Yeah, it's been great having you here to guide us.
No, it's been good. The character can create a projected image for 1 minute of drag scene. Okay, so it's an actual projection. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Enhancements.
Like illusions.
Yeah, it's like illusions. Enhancements. I always read enhancements as like the next power.
Yeah.
Ranged attack and ranged defense are a character performs a ranged attribute, knows how to perform precise ranged attacks with a particular class of distant weapons. So that's your archery, or your bullet catching in ranged defense. So yeah, very cool that those are there. Are those it? Is that it? Did we get through? Nope. There's still more. Cool. Regeneration. I knew I was missing some. We're only in the R's here, and I know it goes to W at least. Regeneration. This attribute is obviously Wolverine's regeneration. It is regenerates health per round. which makes a lot of sense. 5 health per round at level 1, which actually seems pretty significant. But it does cost 5 points per level of this ability. It's fair. Reincarnation. You guys have been talking about this one a lot. 2 points, it gets you in. 2 points makes you
big fan of that.
Well, not
Big fan of
completely
that buy-in.
So yeah, level 1, up to 1 month to reincarnate, all the way up to level 10, reincarnation occurs instantaneously, which must be hard to deal with.
Well, at that point, if you're talking like a level 10, like those are very, like I've played at super powered level games like that where you have a very unique role-playing challenge of making interesting stories for an immortal being.
Yeah.
It's like, well, and then the challenge becomes like a short story. They played a character that was a god, and the limiter I put on them was like, well, you're a god. It's like, yeah, but my character has to be focused on a very particular thing. If you go outside that remit, you go outside my portfolio, I can't help you anymore. I literally cannot. I have to step back.
No.
It's like, oh, so can we kill you? Yeah, but I'll come back. But that, unfortunately, I'm now gone for a bit, you know.
Right. I'd like to piggyback off what you said there, Corbinian. You hit on a point that I think is very important to talk about in superhero games, and that's that when you start getting into higher point value characters and more powerful, almost godlike mythical figures, then you actually transition less from challenging the characters necessarily in combat as you do challenging their ability to handle strange and crazy and wild and dangerous situations that could affect the entire world or the entire universe or all of reality itself.
Yeah.
So a character who literally cannot be killed can still be a compelling and interesting character.
Oh, definitely.
Not because you're challenging their life, but because you're challenging what they're able to continue to uphold according to their convictions.
Yeah,
To the best of
I
their
love
ability.
immortal stories. You know, I love vampires. I love, Highlander's dope. There's a lot of really cool examples of this.
I like locking immortals away for long amounts of time, and I like spacing immortals. Like, oh yeah, you're just gonna reincarnate, huh? Enjoy space.
Enjoy space. I also I enjoyed the Old Guard was a really cool one. I don't know if you guys saw that one. That was actually a surprisingly good movie. But yeah, reincarnation's a very interesting little plot point here. The enhancements make it faster. I guess that's all.
And the enhancement, the difficult to stop. It's like, that's where you said that the GM go, look, you know how by default you could cut my head off Highlander style and I'm gone? Yeah, about an enhancement, I needed to talk to you. Because that might break your game. So we need to figure out how this works.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that it specifies that. That's good. Resilient characters adapted to survive short periods of time in a number of environments equal to their resilient attribute level. Examples include acid, base liquids, airborne toxins. So essentially you're picking stuff that you can just survive, which is cool. Volcanoes. I have resiliency volcanoes. That's a good one to take.
How about being able to survive in space and stuff? You need cold, depressurization,
You might be able to just take
radiation
space.
protection. Yep.
You might just be able to take space. I'm not sure how broad it can be.
I think you'd need to get each thing separately
Each
to
thing
stack
separately?
up to everything you
Okay.
need.
Well, at some point you just say immunity. You're like, you know what? Forget resilience.
I think there's
Yeah.
actually a better one for
Sure.
space immunity, anyways.
Yep.
Whereas resilience more like, oh, you shot me with
Oh, there
fire.
we go.
That's kind of annoying. You know?
Enhancement
space-
complete. This
I think
character,
space
Oh,
flight
it's right there.
was one of them.
yeah, space
early
flight was
on.
one of them. Enhancement complete. This character's resilience is complete and fully adapted to one selected hostile environment. So yeah, you could take complete space protection. Cool. Asking you shall receive in this system, it seems. High-level campaigns tend to challenge the player more than the dice. Absolutely. Well said, John. Well said. Sensory block. Oh, cool. You can turn people's senses off. That's kind of messed up. I blinded a player the other week in one of my games.
You blinded a player or their character?
I blinded their character. And he was role playing it. His character is kind of like a mundane kind of like he's like a everyman kind of guy, and his character was terrified and like man, I felt so bad. Turning off people's eyes is fucked up. I will say it's underrated. Sixth sense. Some characters have the ability to detect things that may be hidden to normal senses or technological senses. Yeah, sixth sense. Everyone knows, you see dead people, that kind of thing. Or not. It can be a number of things. 1 sixth sense, 2 sixth sense, or X sixth senses.
Innocence, interpersonal dynamics, paranormal nexus points, radio, lit RPG stats.
I want to be able to sense radio.
Not actually hear the radio. I can sense the radio.
That'd be torturous. Size changing. Awesome. You can change sizes. I like that. That's a thing. It looks like you have to pick normal to big or normal to small, but you can enhance to do both. You can modify your shrinking as well. Lots of stuff going on there.
Wow. Man, that just blew my mind with that Sixth Sense thing. You could actually build Ghost Rider and his ability to detect the guilty.
Yeah, that's a
Wow.
that's a fantastic
That is mind-blowingly
example,
cool.
sir. That is a fantastic example. Because honestly, that's probably one of the coolest things about Ghost Rider. Is that he can
That was a
sense
bike.
your sin.
Plus, is like super. Like most people don't realize how strong Ghost Rider is either. Do you know he can lift like 40 tons?
Yeah, no, Ghost Rider is
He's
one of my
way
favorites.
more powerful than most people realize.
Yeah, that dude go hard.
He's
hard.
bad.
I remember his one of his iterations was on Agents of Shield, and that was
They did a great job on him there.
Yeah, they did, and that was a rude awakening for all of those people. They had never had to deal with something like that before. So cool.
Yep. He looked great too.
He did. I really, really wanted to see him in the MCU really bad. And who knows, it might happen. Skill group. Skill groups represent training or natural talent in a particular broad field. Cool. So you don't have to nitpick every little thing. For combat-related capabilities, see the following attributes instead. Yeah, so you can pick a group of skills instead of having to nitpick every single thing. If you want just broad coverage and be good at all of one thing, like being good at art or
It actually
academics.
has a funny little aside, a little red paragraph that says, including skill groups and Absolut Power is a shift from Silver Age Sentinels, in which detailed individual skills were offered instead of broad groups. There are numerous advantages to these collections of related skills, though several problems may arise as well that the GM and player must consider, including skill overlap and interpretation. So they're doing something new, and they want to make sure that we don't abuse their new toy.
Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
Yes,
Yeah,
Ron.
I'm really glad you brought that up because as a fan of the original game, I'm familiar with the older one. And the funny thing is, Mark deciding to change to skill groups as the standard and individual skills as the option for the new edition is a really good move in my opinion, because when I ran the game, the first thing I did was switch to the optional skill groups that the first game offered. Like in the first game, they had the individual skill listings in its own section as the standard, and the optional skill groups were a smaller section afterward. And I found they played much better at the table personally.
Well, it makes sense when if you're a superhero game, you're mainly thinking about superpower, so you don't want to get lost in the minutia of can I use rope? Can I do
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, if you're a mundane, we're a bunch of gumshoes,
Yeah.
then we need to break that down into individual things. But if we're the Sentinel team, we're the Avengers. You know what? The fact that I can use computers better than you can do leisure demand, like we can.
Doesn't-
We'll just skill group.
yeah, it
Screw
doesn't-
it. Let's move on.
doesn't have a big right. And I was going to say, like for a Watchmen level game where all the characters are really human, with just some good gear and training, maybe doing individual skills would be very appropriate for that campaign. But
Yeah.
for general superhero games, skill groups is more than good enough for the job.
Yeah, Mark actually just chimed in.
Anyway,
High
that's all I
level.
wanted to bring up.
Mark just chimed in that high level games groups are best, but in low level games, individual skills can help differentiate the characters, and that's a good point. Yeah, when the skills are more impactful because you're lower tier heroes and are relying on those everyday skills a lot more. I see what you're saying. I also enjoy that the skill groups are different costs per tier.
Yeah.
There's 1 point for like academic, artistic, domestic, occupation, where you get to select one. Then 2 points for business, social, street, technical, because those can be a little more useful. And then 3 points for like the big stuff like military or detective, adventuring, scientific. I enjoy that. immensely.
Those stealth rolls, for example, that's adventuring.
No, I enjoy that immensely. I like skill groups.
I'm gonna have to spend 12 points so that I can be a veteran detective.
Sounds
Cool.
like a plan, man. Space flight is the next one. This attribute is primarily intended for use in interplanetary and galactic adventure settings. Oh yeah, and I guess you could put it on a vehicle or an item like an Iron Man suit, and have the God Iron Man suit.
Also can be on a character.
It also could be your character. Your character could fly in space in theory.
It'd be mighty weird to have space flight, but not flight, though.
It does mention
Possible.
that. The flight
It would
attribute
be weird.
is
Well, I
required.
just have the Enterprise, you see, so.
It says the flight attribute is required to escape from the atmosphere and gravity of the planet or larger body. Without flight, the traveler or item can only achieve space flight speeds if already in space. They did think of it. Think of it.
That's funny.
So you can get stranded on a planet but still have space flight.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, it is definitely on the GM to make those skill groups relevant. I agree, Luminous Saber. Definitely. I like to, if you take a skill, I will try to make it happen. Pretty much for anything you pick. Because, otherwise, what's the point? Special movement! Yeah! Broad category. I like the broad categories a lot. They're fun. I don't know why. Special movement, balance. A character never loses their balance, even when running on narrow. That's cool. Cat-like, the character will take half damage rounded down from most falls, and you usually land on your feet. Fast. You double your body stat for calculating ground movements. Light-footed, you can skim over sand or snow like Legolas. Slithering, that's cool. You can be a snake man. Speed burst, you're a sprinter. Dwarves are natural sprinters. Swinging, obviously Spider-Man movement, Venom movement, that kind of stuff.
No, Night Monkey. It's Night Monkey.
It's Night Monkey. I forgot about Night Monkey. What are you looking at, Gary? Untrackable?
No, Zen direction. You're almost there.
We'll get there. Gary's mouth is agape. Untrackable.
love
The
this.
character never leaves footprints. That's kind of creepy, honestly. Wall bouncing. For the duration of a dramatic scene, the character can move at regular walking speed without touching the ground by bounding back and forth between your... That's super dope. Wall crawling, obvious. Water walking, obvious. Zen direction. Gary's
You're
excited
gonna love
for this
it.
one.
You're gonna love this.
When the character opens their mind to the natural world, they will always move in the right direction. The right direction is not always the direction the character wants, but it's the direction the character needs. That's
Yes!
awesome. It's like
That
when
is
those.
perfect.
It's like when a character just like trust the universe and it'll
Uh-huh.
take me where. That's hilarious.
I love that. That's epic, man.
I enjoy that thoroughly as well.
I don't know how not to take Zen direction.
Yeah,
Like,
That's pretty fantastic. Also, I think it'd be really neat that you could take that and discuss with your DM what it means for your version of the character to have that. For example, if your
You could.
character's an implacable hunter of child molesters, then maybe your ability to open yourself to go directly to those guys it leads you right into the worst neighborhoods, right into the middle of like drive-by shootings. It doesn't care. You just go right to that nearest person who needs you to save them,
I
right?
can't leave my
Or
house without
it could
finding
be
a pet.
working a completely different way.
That doesn't sound.
Like maybe it takes you very roundabout ways.
That almost
Yeah.
doesn't sound like a superpower. It sounds like a nightmare. Oh man.
It is, Jahan.
Oh yeah, Gary, the one who used to track them down. Yeah, summon creatures. The character can summon a wide variety of natural animals from the surrounding area specifically and command them. Excellent. You can summon the fish from the deep. Enhancements, supernatural, so you could summon things that aren't necessarily normal creature, and extra dimensional creatures. That's cool. Narrow category, specific category. Cool. I enjoy that. Super sense. Super senses give the characters one sense selected when assigning that functions beyond the scope. So obviously you have super senses. Super speed. I feel like we all know what that is.
No, please explain it.
And super strength. Also very self-explanatory. Swarm, though. A character with this attribute can transform into a swarm of small creatures. That is awesome, man. You could make Dracula with this thing, with reincarnate and swarm and mind control, super strength, super sense. Boom, Dracula. I just made him. Wow, that was really fast. That's swarm. That's a cool one. Taunt. Character jibs and insults, or even simple presence causes others to make errors of judgment. That's some like Deadpool stuff. There you go. Or Spider-Man does it too. All those.
So it gives people major and minor obstacles. Is what that does.
So that's the opposite of edges, I would assume.
Yes.
Yes.
So they would roll potentially 4 dice and take the 2 lowest, which that sucks. And it's because the guy's annoying, and I enjoy that.
You have a funny nose. What?
Hey, Buckethead. It's like, not you. Oh, man, that's funny. Telekinesis.
That shouldn't annoy me, but it does. Damn.
Telekinesis. I like that it specifies wood. It's funny. Telepathy is also.
Ooh, I do like that they had those limiters, because that would be aerokinesis, terrakinesis.
Yeah,
cool.
I enjoy the limiters of those. It's very cool. Then telepathy is also dope. I've been watching Young Justice lately. I really think it's cool that Miss Martian is like she's just like Martian Manhunter, except like their like power points are distributed completely different. She's like a full telepath badass, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Teleport.
I love her character on the show. She
I
goes
do
through
too.
so much and so many changes,
She's such a cool.
including downs and ups. Like she really gets dark for a while.
She's a really good main character. I like her a lot.
Oh yeah, and the actress is fantastic. Danica McKellar,
Mhm.
fantastic job.
Super. I love Miss Martian. Teleport. Everyone knows what that does. Gary. Tough. Possessing attribute increases health points. Okay, so it just makes you tougher. Makes sense. Transfer. Character can loan their abilities to a willing touch target. That's pretty cool. I also love this picture.
That's an awesome picture there.
That is a sick picture.
That is a great picture. New character I'm not familiar with at all.
That is super cool. I like that.
Casual. No.
She looks fantastic.
Transfer. Transmute. The ability to change things from one thing to another. Super cool. Non-living, solid, or liquid objects, or set of connected objects. Very cool. Enhancements include things like resizing, making things gaseous, broader categories, and material categories are limiters. Tunneling. Ability to go underground. Unaffected, undetectable. Very cool. Unaffected represents the ability to ward off an enemy's use of an offensive attribute when the character is targeted from an assault. A mystic's counterspell or protective amulet or a metahuman's genetic protection could represent by unaffected. So you can ignore stuff. Such as all weapons if you take the enhancement. It's pretty cool. Or multiple kinds of power.
Force related.
Yeah.
And so it looks like what that does is the attacker's opposed stat roll would suffer a -2 penalty per level you took in unaffected.
It's pretty sick. So you can get like, I feel like this is kind of where you get that bulletproof, huh? It's pretty cool.
Yes.
The undetectable. This attribute will completely hide the character from one or more sense or detection method. Character may possess a metahuman concealment ability or technological cloaking device. So this could be. I like that they made invisibility a whole like suite of powers instead that you can take, where you were like people can't hear you. That'd be
Right.
very cool. I like that.
Modify it into different things. Yep.
And then here's what Mark was saying. Unique attribute is a catch-all that makes sure that we can make anything we want to make. 1 to 10 points per level. This attribute covers any and all powers and special abilities not detailed in the rules.
Told you it could do anything.
Yeah, you can do anything. You can literally make anything, Gary. There's no...
Yeah, I know. When Mark said unique attribute, I scrolled down and read it and was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he got us. He got us.
Yeah, you got me. 10 out of 10.
Mark says undetectable. Taste.
You can't taste
You
me. I
can't-
was never here.
You can't taste me.
Wait, what?
Do.
Okay, you got a laugh out of me on that one, Mark.
Hey, not useful in everyday life, but very useful if you're fighting against snakes or snake.
Useful in social situations.
Yeah.
Oh.
Your encounters at the bar are not going to leave them angry at you.
That's fair. That's fair.
Look, I can stretch 10 centimeters.
And they won't taste you afterwards.
And you can't even taste me. Well, what a superhero.
Well, some would admire such a man.
But yeah, so unique attribute covers everything not detailed. So there's something here that we didn't cover. It is covered by this. It says like flat out everything
The
needs to be
Force.
available. I appreciate that. Yeah, the Force. Although that, man,
Arguably, there's other ways. to put
arguably
that.
there are better ways to make it. Honestly, there were some. One of those like suits of power things that you could do. Be pretty good.
Well, there are some examples, like they actually list underneath the power. Red Phoenix and Ursa Caesar both have Omniglot as a unique attribute. Level 1 costs 4 points for that rank. It allows them to comprehend all major human languages. That's a really good unique,
That is a good
unique
one.
attribute.
That is a good one. I like that. Let's see another.
And there's more. But yeah.
Rain Killer's unique attribute allows her to engineer and construct tech and mechanical gadgets with incredible speed. Cool. So yeah, literally anything from super cool to kind of mundane that wasn't covered earlier is here.
The next one, Jahan, is a cool one as well. This is the unknown power, and that one almost reminds me of Jordan's character in our usual game.
Yes.
So you actually you learn your powers as the game goes on. The game master reveals more and more of your unknown power to you.
Man, honestly, that's so cool.
Yeah, very cool. It puts a lot of pressure on your game master, but it's a really fun character to play as well.
I don't mind at all. Honestly, like I enjoy those kinds of interactions as a game master, because essentially you're telling your game master like, hey, I want your input on my character design, and also you work together, because usually I won't just be like, hey, this is what your character, usually I'll present some options. But...
Unknown power. Here's a bunch of features. Level 1 features. No superpowers. You apparently have a stopwatch. Why? You'll find out later.
Well, I think it could also be used as a great balancing tool. For example, after a game has gotten started and it's discovered that by chance perhaps one character may be more powerful than the others, then the game master could feel free to add abilities to the other characters in different ways to bring them all up to par to each other.
Yeah, that's one thing. So I'm reading. So yeah, Mark just mentioned a part of it. And I'm seeing another reason why people would do this. So essentially, you're putting points into this power, and then the game master is adding 50% rendered up to that, and then assigning them themselves, essentially. So you're like, hey, I have these points left over. I want something cool. Here you go. and then I get to do whatever I want with them. But
you get more out of them.
But you get more out of it.
Right.
I'm gonna make you turn into poop.
Ooh.
Oh man!
What was you
Liquid
saw?
form.
You saw the you saw.
You're definitely a
Aquafina's-
monkey's paw wish guy, aren't you?
Did you guys see Aquafina's episode of The Boys Presents? What was it called,
Yes.
Gary?
I did.
Seen none of it.
The Boys presents
Dimension.
Diabolical.
Diabolical. Yeah, Aquafina directed an episode. And
Yet to see any of the boys. Sorry.
If you guys have Amazon Prime, The Boys Diabolical is a 10 episode miniseries, and it's anthology. So each episode's directed by a different person, written by a different person,
It's all
including
superheroes.
different art, and none of the stories really tie together except to sort of the Boys universe.
Right.
And some of them are very
Diabolical.
violent. Some of them are very funny. It's just sounds. So if you have Amazon Prime, you should check out Diabolical. I recommend it.
Aquafina's episode was kind of crappy, huh, Gary?
Dare I say she was a poop mancer.
She was a poop answer. It was pretty great.
Mhm.
But yeah, water speed. Boom. You
Oh
can
no.
swim really fast. Up to 300 kilometers per hour underwater. You would end
Hey
the
man, if you're a
world.
poop mancer, you need water speed like that.
No.
That's cool. Cookie Kitty Yuki says, I like the concept of unknown power being used for reincarnation, so the character doesn't even know they are immortal or whatever. So their first death is tragic, and then their return is all the more great. Best done at higher levels, but not too fast, otherwise the effect is kind of diminished. Yeah, no, that's super cool. I like
That's what happened in Umbrella Academy.
Yeah. No, I think it would also be cool if they came back altered,
That's-
like Kane, Scarlet Spider. He
Yeah.
came,
Oh, dude.
yeah, she was dope.
Yeah, you could probably take a modifier on the power so that every time you came back, there would be adjustments to your character.
Cool.
Yeah, a lot of characters that you don't even realize in the Marvel Universe actually have reincarnation. Like some of the
I think
spiders.
all of them do.
Yeah, a lot of them do, but some of them aren't really. It's not like actual. It's just kind of like writers choosing to bring characters back. But some of the-
Editorial mandate.
I like that a lot of the spider heroes are favored by the spider god, and sometimes get saved. It's pretty cool. And then here's wealth. You can just take points of wealth. 3 points per level. The first level, the character is financially stable, cash equivalents of $300,000. Level
that?
2
Is
makes you a
that what
millionaire.
financially stable is? Ha!
Level 2
Yeah.
makes you a millionaire, and level 10 makes you a 10 billionaire. So, with the level 10 godlike wealth, you still are not even like 100th. No, you're about. What is it? How much money does Bezos have?
I don't remember.
Is 700
Oh,
billion?
man.
But
or-
remember, ranks
Yeah.
can go over 10 if you
Ranks
want.
can't go over 10. But yeah,
So
yeah.
you can, increase that over above 10 billion if you need to model a character that's Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne wealthy.
10 billion's a lot, though. Yeah. So yeah, boom. There's the wealth. And then weapon. Weapon's a cool one. Many superheroes and supervillain characters wield powerful offensive energies such as electric zaps, elemental fireballs, key-powered martial arts strikes, blah, blah, blah. Additionally, some robots and technological augmented characters may have guns, missiles, blah, blah, blah. This attribute can also be contained within the item attribute in order to create a handheld weaponry item, sword, firearms, magic wands, or useful attack devices such as armed vehicles, blah, blah, blah. Weapons, which is what this attribute is, can be used on a single target each round with melee range. The target must be in very close proximity to the character unless further modified with enhancements. Character can only make one. So this is just making weapons.
Mhm.
Melee weapons, technically. You have to apply an advantage to make it
Yeah.
ranged.
Yeah. So it starts off base, melee, and then you can make better weapons. Different weapons. Blights. That's cool. So you can make it accurate, anemic. The weapon saps a victim's ability to make forceful attacks in combat. That's cool. It drains their blood. Aura.
I like the example in the weapon damage category with Caliburn. Did you see it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so example. Caliburn beats down some gang thugs using his collapsible batons, which are items with weapon level 2. Caliburn has an attack combat value of 16 and a damage multiplier of 5, the standard value. This means each time he successfully strikes a target with the batons, he inflicts 10 damage, which is his weapon level 2 times the damage multiplier of 5, 10, plus his attack combat value of 16, total of 26 damage.
Holy shit.
So, yep, it breaks down how damage works in the
No, that's
example.
dope. It's definitely a good thing to have an example for.
Now, if, for example, Caliburn also had massive damage skill as an attribute that increased his damage with batons, then he could have higher than 5 for his basic damage multiplier while using his weapons. Let's say he has massive damage batons rank 5, then it'd be 10 more damage per rank of massive damage, which actually, I'm sorry, it would mean that his damage multiplier would go from 5 to 10. And then instead of doing 26 damage, he would do 36 damage, I think. Yeah.
Look how many different types of weapon and ammunition there are.
I
Holy
saw.
crap.
You can have psychic
yeah.
weapons, muscle weapons, multi-dimensional weapons, quaking weapons, reach weapons,
Yep, those are all interesting enhancements. Yep.
inconspicuous, vampiric. Goes on.
Wow.
And then they have a lot of limiters too.
Yep.
A weapon has the most extras and modifiers there.
Sort of needs them in order to model different things.
It really
Yeah,
does.
great.
I really like it.
And then any
yeah.
of them could be turned into an item. Exactly.
And then here is attribute customization is the next chapter. It has all of the more generic stuff that you can apply to pretty much any attribute. And it really goes into depth here. You can change potency, range, targets, different limits as well. And it's just super cool. So you can, if you made the same character as anyone else ever has, then you tried to. Honestly, there's so much variation in this system. Man, I think this is dope, dude.
I do too. I think this is absolutely fresh out the box certified.
Yeah, it's certified as fresh out the box, definitely. This is a certified fresh out the box TTRPG. Put the stamp on it, and bring them to the first convention we go to. We'll sign them. We're not going to conventions. We're just kidding.
Well, this isn't nearly as prestigious, but it's rune certified too.
There you go.
Oh, damn. Wow, that's really prestigious. I've never heard anything rune certified before.
It's true.
We certify
it's
shit
more,
all the time.
We do it all the time. Technically, yours is more coveted as it is rare.
Rarer currently, yes.
Mint in box. But yeah, so thank you so much for this book. This is cool. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? I feel like we're pretty much done. We're running out of time here.
We are fast approaching our end time, and I just want to tell everybody that's watched along, that's only half of the book. That's only a scoop. It's only a
We
scoop
didn't even get
of
to
the
the second
flavor.
book at all.
We didn't get the second
We
book
didn't
at all.
get
No.
to the second book. We didn't get to character building, but we did look at a lot of the cool draws to a superhero book. If I'm going into a store and picking up a book, I'm flipping to the powers, and that's what I wanted to see. And I think that this book had everything I wanted for powers and more. Up with the unique powers, it had everything. You can make every type of hero. One of the other things I'm looking for in a book is art every 3 pages or so, and this book hit that. About every 3 or 4 pages, there was another piece of fresh, good,
It's
original
really good art.
art. So
Really good art.
nothing but praise from me on this one, man.
What you got, Rune?
I was going to say, as long as you're talking about the art, I want to talk about how evocative it is of the setting and the character types you can make. Turn to page 165 and you'll see a picture of Bell Shroud. Bell Shroud is a unique character in the game because you may be familiar with Peter Pan, right?
Yeah.
In the Silver Age Sentinels universe, Peter Pan is an actual character, and Bell is her sidekick. They're called Pan and Bell. And instead of being Peter, she's just called Pan, and she's a young female. And she's a superhero who basically protects children all around the world. And that's her entire character concept. She takes her sidekicks from children that she's rescued that have no home to return to, and they're basically shrunken, magical little children. And after they grow past a certain age, they leave her and become adults. And Belle Shroud, with that awesome artwork, is an example of such character. She's a former sidekick of Pan, who is now a 35-year-old adult who still retains some of the magical power they had when they were the sidekick to Peter Pan. Isn't that a cool idea for a character idea?
That is.
That's a cool concept.
Definitely. No, that's a very cool idea for sure. Yeah, we played a Neverland game not that long ago, so Peter Pan
Cool.
can definitely be some pretty good inspiration. But yeah, you can take anything you want and make anything you want in this system. It is fully open. I really like it. I'm interested to see how it plays one day. But yeah, this game's fresh off the press and fresh out the box. Absolute Power just finished funding on Kickstarter. What'd you think, Corbinian?
I've seen, not to be the negative Nancy too much, but because it does look nice, it's well worded, and it's definitely a product of years and years and years of this type of system being a thing. Tristat, Bessem, all that have been a thing for years. And there's a lot of lessons that they learned. They're like, you know what? Remember that thing? Let's put a limiter in there. Like, you know how reincarnation was bullcrap? Yeah, let's make that default not as bullcrap anymore. That sort of thing. So they've done fixes. But it's also the only worry I have, and it's probably something that I would play, I would never run. Because I've run it before, this kind of game where it's like you can, unless you have, you can, and I said in the chat earlier, you can run into choice paralysis, analysis paralysis. You have, yes, you have a lot of choices, but there's a point where unless you have an idea in mind, you can very easily look at this book. If I throw this book in front of one of my TTRPG friends who don't play a lot of them, they're lost. They're going to be sitting there going, what the hell do I do? I go, here's a template, even then. But that's the thing. And that's, as a GM, it's a challenge to kind of balance that out. But the good thing is that it isn't, from what I've seen so far, it isn't repeating mistakes from first edition Bessem or second edition Bessem where there were certain things where you're like, you really should put a limiter in there, or there really should be a clarification, or this is going to break immediately. And this one gives you, here's how, if you want to break, you want to have godlike, go ahead. Go nuts. But if you actually want to have a limiter, so fun to play, but I don't know if I'd ever run it myself. But it looks great. At least it's not like it's not a boring read, that's for sure.
Superhero games can be challenging to run in general because of the wide scope of powers that you have to coach. And this one definitely seems like it would be interesting to run. But I'll run anything. Like, literally, I'll run any game. This seems like, I don't know, I would have a lot of fun making the villains, that's for sure.
Yes, I'm super glad you have a great index, by the way. Sorry.
Yes, Discovery. The index is fantastic. The organization of the book, flat out fantastic. Yeah. Which we don't always see. But overall, it sounds like we all think this book's solid. So, I mean, that's,
it's a 9 out of 10 for me, easy. And maybe a 10 because I haven't put it on my table yet, like to actually run it. Yeah, I would run it before I'd give a final judgment, but it's easily a 9 out of 10 as it is.
If you're a fan of superhero games, if you're a fan of TTRPGs in general, check this one out. It is worth it just for the artwork, the lore, and the forewords, and a history of comic books in the front.
Yeah, that part's really good.
It's super cool.
As someone who's never seen or played a Tristat game either, I had a lot of fun looking through this with you guys. And maybe it was more fun because you guys had some knowledge. But sitting down like this and reading a book at a table with your friends, I think this is a great book for that. This is just, there's so much to chew down. And I think reading it by yourself might be overwhelming at times, but doing it this way was really enjoyable. I really like this.
Yeah, we do a lot of TTRPGs. Me and Gary play like 30 different ones a year at least. We're playing 3 every week. And so learning them in this setting is so much easier. Because you can like clarify with each other and make sure that you do understand, and like usually one of us will get it and the other one won't at some point, so like the other one can fill them in, and like it's, I don't know, it's just a good collaborative experience. But yeah, Mark says thanks for taking all that time to go through the attributes, really appreciate the exposure. Absolute. Thank you so much for the books. We are so appreciative when people give us this kind of content, and we're always happy to help share smaller and indie developers to get their content out there because they make truly great content. And this is a great example of that. Thank you so much for giving us this book, Absolut Power. Check it out, everybody. I have been Johananon at RockFact on Twitter.
I'm Casualty CDG, and you can find me at Casualty CDG. Don't forget to check out Daisukami's website and some of their other books. All I have is just great stuff to say about this. I can't wait to check out more Daisukami products. Thank you guys so much for being here. Join us tomorrow night on March 10th. We'll be playing Wild Sea by Felix Isaacs. I play as a sentient colony of spiders, and we'll be sailing across the treetops that have taken over Earth. I'm also a doomsayer, and so you'll hear me talk about how we are most certainly walking to our deaths around every corner. So look forward to that. It's a great fun time. We're always here from 8 until 11 Central Standard Time, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We also have a podcast called Fresh Out the Podcast, where we talk about movies and streaming shows and games and anything else that we think you should hear about. Thanks again, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
And I've been AD Springer, also known as Corbinian. You can find me at ElectricMetCHSR on Twitter or under Corbinian here on Twitch. I do about 3 hours before this exact stream on Wednesdays, I run Cyberpunk Red and lead people to throwing people out windows and blowing up yachts because Cyberpunk, that's Night City. On Saturdays at around 1:30 Eastern, I do Star Trek Klingons, as Klingons blow holes in space and try not to kill each other because Klingons. And at other random times, I do video game streams at some point in some variation. But and the only other thing I'll add on at the end of this is that as I am a very picky player and a very picky GM. So if this game sounds fun or you had fun reading about this or you're like, oh man, that sounds cool, then it's probably for you. So just keep that in mind as well.
Okay. Great. I am Riley Davis, also known as Rune, and I'm not anybody important online, but hilariously, one of the places you can find me is silverage.enginengine.com. because I lead a guild named after this role-playing games for first edition. And I am a huge fan of all things Tri-Stat related and role-playing game, superhero game related. And this has been a dream to have the opportunity to help discuss this game and bring it more exposure. And I'd like to hope that maybe one day we'll try playing this game in our regular Wednesday game for a shift.
It seems very possible.
Try it out, because I would love to try it out at the table. Anyway,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone, once again. Have a good night and stay fresh.